Chapter 1070. Not good. Shui could not help but feel his heart tightening as he faced the seemingly ordinary great hammer and the enormous scarlet palm with a heaven-toppling might. He felt a sense of threat rising from the unseen world. Previously, even though he was affected by the time domain, and was then attacked by the two opposing 10th-level techniques of water and fire, he did not feel any threat at all even though his body could withstand it. At this moment he felt it. This was the true killing move of this sneak attack. It is the Rain Dust Walker under one of the 5 ancestors of the Myriad Realm's ancient nation, Drifter. Is that one of the 100 battle devil gods, Fan Chuhu? Dongbo Shuiying recognized the other party. He immediately transmitted a request for help. Teacher, I am being ambushed. At the moment when the time domain descended, the surrounding space spanning more than 50 million kilometers had been completely isolated. Just like during the blood sacrifice at the Ardent Fire City, the city was completely isolated. This secret treasure that could isolate and seal was extremely expensive. Ordinary cosmos gods could not afford it. It was specially bestowed by Sky Sword King for this mission. Clearly, it was to prevent Dongbo Shuiying from escaping using the destructive realm teleportation technique. Of course, Dongbo Shuiying still had an avatar left behind in the capital. He could still call for help. Hung Long Long, 2 terrifying powers descended at the same time. Even though Dongbo Shuiying tried his best to display his spear techniques to defend, his time flow was too slow, and his movements were too slow. That great hammer easily evaded Dongbo Shuiying's spear and penetrated through the 3 void maelstrom stairs surrounding his body before smashing down on the body of Dongbo Shuiying. This protective technique, of the Scarlet Cloud combat technique, was constantly being attacked by the water and fire killing moves, greatly reducing its power. This seemingly ordinary hammer was merely weakened by 30% to 40% by the protective technique. The rest of the attack landed on the body of Dongbo Shuiying. Amen? Rain Dust Walker also felt the sensation of smashing into the void, voidification. Almost at the same time, the giant copper palm slammed down, and the protective spiral staircase completely collapsed. The long spear in his hand was directly smashed into his body. Then, the giant palm slammed into his body, and his body rumbled. Rain Dust Walker's great hammer was light as a feather, yet it carried with it a heavy force that smashed into his body and even his soul, causing his body that was already battered by the fire and water to feel extremely uncomfortable. What followed was a crushing strike from the copper palm. Being a 100 battle devil god, Fan Chuhu was an ultra-powerful expert whose body had been modified. He did not rely on himself to reach the 10th level. Therefore he was somewhat similar to a demonic servant. Of course, he was ultimately still a cultivator and did not need to recognize a master. But his techniques were generally not at the 8th or 9th level standard. Nevertheless, his pure strength and speed were frightening, surpassing that of ordinary cosmos gods. In addition, his body was the best at charging and killing in battle. Buzz. Under the continuous barrage of attacks, Dongbo Shuiying felt like his mind was buzzing. What? Not dead yet? How is that possible? His Highness Blaze Wind, Rain Dust Walker, Fan Chuhu, the 2 water and fire emissaries, as well as the black-robed expert and Thunder King Mo Chao who were watching the battle in the dark, were utterly shocked. According to their plan, this was the joint attack that they thought would be powerful enough to kill Yingshan Snow Eagle. Under the time domain, Dongbo Shuiying's speed became extremely slow. He could not retaliate at all and could only receive the attacks passively. The combination of fire and water was a 10th level technique, and they were completely opposite. When they worked together, the power was frightening. They even guessed that this might cause Snow Eagle to die. After that, the 100 battle devil god Fan Chuhu and Rain Dust Walker were even more formidable when they worked together. The 2 of them were famous for suppressing others head-on. In their opinion, even if Dongbo Shuiying did not die previously, his body was much weaker. Facing the 2 suppressive attacks, Dongbo Shuiying's body would definitely crumble apart. Hong Long Long, a huge crater had already been formed on the street. Within the crater, a figure bent over and raised his head. His eyes were filled with fury. Damn. Dongbo Shuiying was furious and sullen at the same time. It had been a long time since he felt so sullen. He clearly had strength, yet under the time domain his speed was much slower than the other party. He could not defend against the other party's attacks at all. Layers of energy ripples were continuously reverberating in his body. Pooh. Dongbo Shuiying spurted out fresh blood. Blood was even seeping out from the surface of his body. Even with the Scarlet Cloud combat technique and the 10th level Grand Perfection Southern Cloud Sacred Body, Dongbu Shuiying would most likely lose his life under such joint attacks. Fortunately, his voidification had been deduced to an unfathomable realm. It had surpassed all void lineage insect beasts at the pinnacle of primal chaos and was comparable to his teacher Guqi. He was just a hair's breadth away from the true pinnacle of voidification. With such voidification, Dongbu Shuiying was able to dissipate most of the attacks. Nevertheless, he was still injured in the end. Kill. Continue killing. He is already heavily injured. Hurry up. Even though they were shocked that their joint attack failed, they understood that time was precious. Hong, die. His Highness Blaze Wind had been controlling the time domain. The fire and water emissaries continued their joint attack. As for Fan Chu Hu and Rain Dust Walker, they felt humiliated and furious. Sky-tearing claw. Fan Chu Hu roared. His palms turned into claws that tore apart the heaven and earth. This was an extremely ruthless claw technique that his master, Sky-tearing Great Paragon, had specially created for the 100 battle demonic gods like them. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. Be annihilated. Rain Dust Walker was also furious. As a walker under the Drifter sect, he had his own pride. He swung his great hammer. Wung, the air current that streaked across the void produced a peculiar sound that resembled the sound of a flute. The sound even contained some charm that caused one to fall into a deep slumber, causing one to faintly feel as though one had fallen into eternal darkness. Rumble, the 5 great experts attacked consecutively and attacked 3 rounds. His body's aura did not weaken. At the very least, he still has more than half of his vitality. It's too late. Hurry up and leave. His Highness Blaze Wind, who had been controlling the time domain, immediately shouted. Go. 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 Even though they were unwilling, they did not hesitate. So. All of them disappeared. They were very clear that even though the Southern Cloud King had a high status, he would still intervene to save his disciple when his disciple was in danger. If he were to casually sweep the 5 of them when he intervened, they would be doomed. Under that situation, it would not be considered as bullying the weak. It was merely a slight venting of anger. But if they were to escape, the Southern Cloud King would chase after them. That would be embarrassing. Experts who stood at the apex in the Realm Heart Great Land were bound by some hidden rules. After all, there were ultra-strong experts in every region. Like the Myriad Realms Ancient Nation and Summer Wind Ancient Nation, they were much stronger than the Southern Cloud King. Furthermore, these hidden rules were imposed because all parties were apprehensive. If they were truly small and weak superpowers, they could just sweep through them directly. How would they be qualified to talk about hidden rules with superpowers like the Myriad Realms Ancient Nation? Being qualified to talk about hidden rules was something to be proud of. Naturally, the Southern Cloud King had to abide by these hidden rules too. Hong, the shockwaves from the battle spread in all directions. Many light rays descended from the sky. That was the light emitted by the array protecting the capital of the fiery Zhao nation. Cough, cough. Dongbu Shuiying coughed out more blood from his throat. He flew out from the deep pit. He hovered in midair as he observed his surroundings. The shockwaves did not affect a huge area, but there were still several cultivator residences that were destroyed. Why are they so unrestrained when fighting within the capital? Dongbu Shuiying felt even more furious when he saw that. This was too sullen. From start to end, he did not manage to retaliate at all. Naturally, everything happened too quickly. Every 10th level expert merely executed 3 moves. How fast was that? Furthermore, he was still within the time domain. Hence, his actions were even slower. Snow Eagle, you should return and rest first. The Sky Sword sect actually mobilized so many experts to deal against you. Very good. If I did not retaliate, I would have been underestimated. Southern Cloud King's voice sounded by the ears of Dongbu Shuiying. His voice was filled with fury. Teacher, I'll find them after a few days. Dongbu Shuiying replied. You don't have to care about this. Just rest well first. Southern Cloud King stood at the apex of the Realm Heart Great Land. He naturally had his own standards for doing things. Just as he finished speaking, Dongbu Shuiying felt the unseen aura leaving. Teacher is going to interfere. Dongbu Shuiying thought. He had always been the one dealing with the matter of the Sky Sword sect invading the fiery Zhao nation. It had been several 100,000 years, and the Southern Cloud King had been watching calmly as the matter developed. If he suffered a loss, he would naturally interfere. Clearly, he felt that his disciple alone was insufficient to deal with the Sky Sword sect. Chapter 1071. Fiery Zhao Capital, outside the entrance of the Southern Cloud Sacred Palace. Marquis Chu Ming and several other disciples had been waiting here for a long time. Because the battlefield was completely isolated, there were no large fluctuations when they were attacked. However, after the other party escaped, the aftermath of the battle alarmed more than half of the experts in the city. Senior Brother Snow Eagle. The group of disciples greeted him respectfully. Marquis Chu Ming looked at Dongbua Shuiying with concern. "I'm fine," Dongbua Shuiying said before entering the Southern Cloud Sacred Palace. Seeing the back figure of Dongbua Shuiying, Marquis Chu Ming and the others did not dare to say anything. They could feel that this absolute genius, Yingshan Snow Eagle, was not in a good mood at this moment. In the chamber, Dongbua Shuiying sat alone with his legs crossed. Even though the 5 great experts who came this time were shocked that they could not kill this Yingshan Snow Eagle and felt that this Snow Eagle was too resilient, Dongbua Shuiying himself felt sullen because he was being beaten from start to end. He wanted to give the enemy an arch destruction, or a piercing void, yet he could not do so in time due to the flow of time. Even with my level of strength, I've been trapped in the domain of time all this time, unable to break out. Dongbua Shuiying was startled too. Most 10th level experts in the Tao of Time would not be so heaven-defying. His Highness Blaze Wind is a core disciple from one of the 2 great clans in the Myriad Realm's ancient nation, the Blaze clan. Dongbua Shuiying naturally recognized that dazzling red-haired young man. The wisp of flame between his eyebrows was too eye-catching. The core disciples of the Blaze clan possessed a sufficiently dense bloodline, and they were able to awaken their heaven-defying innate talent. Coupled with their innate talent and cultivation of the corresponding ultimate techniques, their combat strength would naturally be terrifying. As for those who couldn't awaken, it could not be considered a core anymore. The reason why he had such heaven-defying talent was because the Blaze clan's patriarch was the only one among the Myriad Realm's ancient kingdom's 5 ancestors who had reached the invincible realm through body refinement. 100 Battle Demon God? Rain Dust Walker? Dongbua Shuiying really felt that he was close to death just now. With each round of attacks he would lose close to 10% of his strength. It would only take 11 or 12 rounds of attacks for him to die. Those 2 experts who specialized in water and fire seemed to be the weakest. But when they worked together, their diametrically opposite energies had weakened his Southern Cloud sacred body. Just like how a weapon would become brittle after encountering water and fire, it would be easier for it to disintegrate if it was struck by a heavy blow. Although he didn't lose any life force after being hit by the water and fire, his body was weakened, which made 100 Battle Demon God and Rain Dust Walker's attacks more effective. With every strike he could smell the scent of death. It also made him try his best to void Fei, allowing more power to be channeled into nothingness. If one could reach the pinnacle of voidification, one with the essence of the void, then these attacks would not be able to hurt him. Just a little bit more to fuse with the essence of the void? Dongbua Shuiying was deep in thought. His teacher, Southern Cloud King, acted very quickly. On the 2nd day after Shuiying was ambushed, a group of experts had already killed their way into the Sky Sword Sect Palace. Because His Highness Blaze Wind, Rain Dust Walker, and the others knew that there might be a counterattack, they naturally hid within the Sky Sword Path Palace. If not for the superpower behind them ordering them to help the Sky Sword Sect, they would have long escaped without a trace. What's the outcome? Dongbua Shuiying even specially came out of closed-door cultivation. The battle is very intense. It has alarmed the entire capital. The royal family and those devils from the Black Devil Great Lake are watching from afar. After the battle, more than half of the Sky Sword Sect Palace has been destroyed. Marquis Chu Ming said. Dongbua Shuiying was slightly startled. Since the Sky Sword Sect had invaded the fiery Zhao nation, the arrays constructed in this sacred palace in the capital were naturally formidable. It should be on the same level as the Southern Cloud Sacred Palace. Ordinary 10th level experts could not break through it, yet more than half the palace was destroyed. Unquestionably, the arrays had been destroyed. If the arrays were intact, it was impossible for the palace to be destroyed. The experts sent by teacher are really powerful. They even destroyed the arrays. Dongbua Shuiying sighed inwardly. He understood that the Southern Cloud King would only send experts stronger than the 5 experts sent by the Sky Sword Sect. Otherwise they would be slapping his face. Even though the hidden superpowers were powerful. The Southern Cloud King had several hidden superpowers under him. He could even borrow soldiers from them. It's just that these were not experts from the Southern Cloud sacred religion, and they could not openly reveal their identities. Some experts who used other cultivation techniques could defeat the Sky Sword Sect, but that did not prove that the cultivation technique of the Southern Cloud sacred religion was outstanding. Hence, this could only be done in the dark by both parties. On the surface, they still needed disciples like Thunder King Mo Chao, Gong Liang Yi, and Yingshan Snow Eagle. After understanding the battle, Dongbo Shuiying went back into closed-door cultivation. Even though his understanding of the essence of the void deepened, and he was just a strand away from the final pinnacle of voidification, this strand was no less difficult than breaking through to the Cosmos God realm at the pinnacle of Primal Chaos realm. Dongbo Shuiying had never taken this step. He had no choice since it was too difficult for a Primal Chaos expert to reach this stage. Fortunately, he had seen the scaled armor of General Mo Gu before. Otherwise, it would be a dream for him to reach this stage at the Primal Chaos realm. After all, there were only two great cultivation techniques in the realm Heart Great Land that could allow a Primal Chaos expert to reach the pinnacle of voidification. One was in the Myriad Realms Ancient Nation. The other was in the Summer Wind Ancient Nation. Other ancient nations, including some who had reached an extremely high realm in the void aspect like Southern Cloud King, could not create a cultivation technique that could allow a Primal Chaos expert to reach the pinnacle of voidification. It was hard for him to improve his voidification. Instead, it was Shuiying who was improving his 5 phases sealing technique. Ultimately, he only needed to reach small success. 3 months after he was ambushed, it was a very short period. Origin phase. Dongbo Shuiying looked at the void in front of him. He lightly waved his hand, causing the essence of the void to be controlled by Dongbo Shuiying. Everything was moving according to Dongbo Shuiying's will. There were many layers of black cloth. One of the layers of black cloth had many black fog spherical particles rolling about, forming a sphere before forming an enormous cube. I finally reached this stage. Dongbo Shuiying revealed a grin. The black fog spherical particles were too small and hard to touch. Even when he relied on the Southern Cloud sacred body to execute the arch destruction, he could barely shatter several black fog spherical particles. How difficult was it to control them? He had to rely on the profound mysteries of the void to guide them. Once he mastered this guiding technique, he would have reached small success in the origin phase, reaching the 9th level. Not relying on external materials would mean reaching the pinnacle of Primal Chaos realm. Oh. Dongbo Shuiying thought. 5 lights appeared in midair above him. They represented 5 different ways of controlling the void. One of the lights was an incomparably heavy black Primal Chaos. Some were faintly discernible and illusory. Some were like surging waves of the void. Some were like silk or fog, and the last was a dim light. 5 phases sealing technique. Dongbo Shuiying revealed a joyous look. If I had mastered it, why would I be afraid of his time domain? The stronger the time domain, the greater the impact it would suffer from. 5 phases sealing technique. That was the most tyrannical and strongest void absolute art of the Southern Cloud sacred religion. If one had the 5 phase beads, he could execute 5 10th level techniques at the same time. By fusing them together, they could form the 5 phases sealing technique. Its power was simply unfathomable and tyrannical. Teacher. Dongbo Shuiying immediately contacted Southern Cloud King. Snow Eagle, what's the matter? Southern Cloud King asked. I've mastered the 5 phases sealing technique. Dongbo Shuiying said. What? Say it again? Chapter 1072. Closely following that. Ceylon, within the cultivation room where Dongbo Shuiying cultivated, a figure walked out from the void. He was none other than Southern Cloud King, who was garbed in black robes. Black robe? This is an avatar of teacher? Dongbo Shuiying guessed inwardly. Since Southern Cloud King could create an avatar technique, his avatar techniques were naturally profound. You've grasped the 5 phases sealing technique? Quick, display it for me to have a look. Southern Cloud King urged. Yes, teacher. Dongbo Shuiying nodded. At that moment, 5 rays of light appeared above and covered half the cultivation room. Southern Cloud King looked up at those 5 rays of light. His eyes were filled with infatuation. He muttered, 5 phases sealing, 5 phases sealing. He has actually grasped it at the Primal Chaos realm. He knew that his disciple would not lie. But when he heard the transmission transmitted by Dongbo Shuiying, he could not help but suspect if he heard wrongly. Because that 5 phases sealing technique was the strongest combat secret importation technique he had in the Void lineage. This secret importation technique was owned by 4 out of the 6 great ancient nations. Those ancient nations might not care too much about it, but the Southern Cloud Nation was ultimately a Tier 2 nation. The significance of the 5 phases sealing technique was naturally different. Furthermore, it was too hard to cultivate. At the Primal Chaos realm, it is hard to reach the pinnacle in a single Dao path. There are 5 different Dao paths. Southern Cloud King felt his heart surging. He had only obtained the 5 phases sealing technique after reaching the peak and cultivated it to grand perfection. He asked himself if he could cultivate it at the primal chaos realm. According to what he knew, there was once an absolute genius from the towering sky ancient nation who grasped the 5 phases sealing technique at the primal chaos realm. And there was only one of him. Good. Southern Cloud King looked at Dongbo Shuang with praise. This is the 5 phase beads. Southern Cloud King took out a wristband. This wristband had 5 black beads on it. Every bead was faintly emitting light and different auras. Southern Cloud King revealed a rueful look. Ever since I got the 5 phases sealing technique, I have been refining these 5 phase beads. I have always wanted to bestow this secret treasure to someone else, yet I've been waiting for so long. And now this 5 phase beads has finally found its master. The 5 phase beads floated in front of Dongbo Shuang. Dongbo Shuang took it from him. He sensed it. Buzz. Each bead contained a world within corresponding to a form within. Sensing the mysterious patterns contained in the 5 phase beads, Dongbo Shuang suddenly raised his head in shock. Master, this? He originally thought that this should be a 10th level secret treasure. But after sensing it, he discovered that this 5 phase beads was much more profound than the 10th level. It wasn't any less precious than the Scarlet Cloud God Spear. It might even be more precious. That was because each of the 5 beads was equivalent to a powerful artifact. One had to know that ordinary 10th level secret treasures were usually priced from 500 million to 1 billion cosmos crystals. Cosmos secret treasures were usually priced from 5 billion to 10 billion cosmos crystals. 5 phase beads. Every bead was a secret treasure. If it was made at the 10th level because it was refined by his teacher, Shuang would only need to spend around 2 billion cosmos crystals. But now Dongbo Shuang discovered that this 5 phase beads was absolutely not a 10th level treasure. Its price would most likely be 10 times higher. Haha. Southern Cloud King laughed. Who would have thought that the first person under my sect to grasp the 5 phases sealing technique would be at the primal chaos realm? Dongbo Shuang was enlightened. It should be easier for a cosmos god to grasp all 5 Dao paths at the same time. But it is too precious. Dongbo Shuang could not help but say, "Take it. You are my disciple." Southern Cloud King chuckled. You are strong, and that means my Southern Cloud sacred religion is strong too. Furthermore, since you could reach this realm in all 5 Dao paths, you should be confident of stepping into the Cosmos God realm. Dongbo Shuang nodded before accepting it. Also, since you have grasped the 5 phases sealing technique, I'll leave the matter of the Sky Sword sect entering my Black Devil 4 nations to you. Southern Cloud King chuckled. Just do it. I'm behind you. Yes, teacher. Dongbo Shuang nodded. The next day. Ho! A black-scaled magic dragon roared. It coiled above the Southern Cloud Sacred Palace. On the back of this incomparably huge magic dragon stood a white-robed young man. Go, let's head to the Sky Sword sect. Dongbo Shuang said. South, the magic dragon moved and tunneled into the void. Very soon. At another location in the fiery Zhao capital, in midair above the Sky Sword sect palace, a huge meandering magic dragon tunneled out from the void and floated there. And a white-robed young man stood on the back of the magic dragon looking downwards. It is still under construction? Dongbo Shuang looked downwards. The entire Sky Sword sect palace seemed to be in perfect condition, though he saw many cultivators scattered across the place. They were currently inscribing arrays and inscriptions on the palace. One had to know that being a sacred palace in the capital, the arrays were meant to resist against 10th level experts. In terms of power, it was comparable to Dongbo Shui Ying's Feishua city. The Feishua city was constructed for close to 100 million years. It was primarily for the sake of the arrays. The Sky Sword sect palace itself was easy to construct. With the techniques of primal chaos experts, they could easily construct it overnight. Only the arrays required a large amount of materials and effort to inscribe them. Who is that? He dares to appear above the Sky Sword sect palace? What do you know? That magic dragon is worth more than 1 billion cosmos crystals. That white-robed young man is even an absolute expert from the Southern Cloud sacred religion, Yingshan Snow Eagle. The moment Dongbo Shuang appeared, it attracted the attention of many cultivators. Some of the carriages in the distant sky even stopped to watch from afar. Fortunately, the vision of the cultivators was excellent. Dongbo Shuang, who stood on the back of the enormous magic dragon, was like a tiny dot looking downwards. His voice boomed across the world. I, Yingshan Snow Eagle, am challenging the experts from the Sky Sword sect. During this period, I hope for everyone to not enter the Sky Sword sect palace in case of being implicated. At the same time he spoke, a surging spatial ripple had enveloped the entire outer perimeter of the Sky Sword sect palace. The void wave surged. Most ordinary 8th level experts would be killed by the Scarlet Cloud domain, if they came. Putting it nicely, it was preventing others from being implicated. In reality, it was a matter of blocking the door. Very simple. If you are capable, defeat me. Otherwise you don't have to accept disciples. Under such a terrifying void wave, no one dared to get involved. Dongbua Shuang was already very benevolent. Chang Su Wang and the others did not display their domain in the past. Instead, they waited for disciples to enter the Southern Cloud Sacred Palace before killing them. It caused some outer disciples from the Southern Cloud Sacred Religion who were not clear of the situation to lose their lives. Wow! He is blocking the door. Ying Shan Snow Eagle is blocking the door of the Sky Sword Sect Palace. How tyrannical. Hurry up and come. Ying Shan Snow Eagle is riding on the magic dragon to block the door of the Sky Sword Sect Palace. Many cultivators immediately transmitted to their friends. Wah wah wah, large batches of experts rushed over from all directions. Some royal clan and aristocratic marquis disciples even rode on luxurious carriages as they rushed over. All of them were watching excitedly from afar. Chang Su Wang was blocking the door purely to provoke them. After all, he was merely a 9th level expert. Dongbua Shuang was blocking the door. That was the true clash between both parties. It was bustling outside. Many experts were here to watch the show. They wanted to see the clash between the Sky Sword sect and the Southern Cloud Sacred Religion. After all, these were the 10 great religions of the Realm Heart Great Land. They were representing their religion to challenge the other party. For the sake of their reputation, the experts they sent out were absolutely powerful. After all, if they were defeated, they would not be losing their reputation. Instead, they would be losing the reputation of their religion. How dare he? How dare he do this? The violet-robed male Thunder King Imo Chao looked furiously at the sky. So what if he has learned the Scarlet Cloud combat technique? Ooh. Many figures appeared by the side. They were none other than His Highness Blaze Wind, Rain Dust Walker, the black-robed expert 100 Battle Devil God Fan Chu Hu, the Waterfire Envoys and others. They were all looking upwards. Fellow cultivators, what do you think we should do? Thunder King Imo Chao looked to the side. Don't ask us. His Highness Blaze Wind shook his head. He chuckled, we aren't disciples of the Sky Sword sect. It isn't good for us to act. We can't act. What would happen if the experts from my fan clan act? Fan Chu Hu shook his head. We can't either. The Waterfire Envoys shook their heads. They were under the protection of Sky Sword King, yet they did not cultivate the lineage of the Sky Sword sect. This was a battle between sections. Only their own disciples could challenge the other party in broad daylight. If outsiders were to challenge the other party, they would be laughed at for not having anyone in the sect. His survival capabilities are formidable, and his body technique is formidable too. I can't defeat him. Thunder King Imo Chao frowned. He was one of the 2 Dao protectors of the Sky Sword sect. He was famous amongst 10th level experts, and he had even become an honorary disciple of an old ancestor from the Myriad Realm's ancient nation. But given his pride, he would either choose not to fight or win the battle. And the other party's Scarlet Cloud combat technique was ever-changing. He was already in an undefeatable position. If he went, he might not lose by relying on his strength, but he would be toyed with, and it would not look good on his reputation. King. Imo Chao transmitted a message to Sky Sword King. Since the door is blocked, we can only accept the challenge. Go. Even though you can't win, make the battle look better. Don't lose your reputation. Sky Sword King transmitted. Yes. Imo Chao understood. No other choice. Just like how the Southern Cloud Sacred Religion only had a few 10th level disciples on the surface, including those from outside the nation, there were only about 10 or so. It was the same for the Sky Sword sect. There were very few 10th level disciples. There were some who could fight Yingshan Snow Eagle to a standstill, but none of them could defeat him. The Scarlet Cloud combat technique was a secret impartation of the Fan clan. Naturally, there was a reason for it. The huge meandering magic dragon coiled in the sky. The surrounding void waves were rolling. On the back of the magic dragon, the white-robed young man Dongbua Shuang looked downwards. He roared, "Is there no one in the Sky Sword sect? You don't even dare to accept the challenge?" His voice rumbled across the sky. It became silent. Yingshan Snow Eagle, aren't you too arrogant? Finally, someone roared. A violet-robed male flew up. He had a cold expression as he floated in the sky. He was facing the white-robed young man on the back of the meandering magic dragon. He is here, he is here. They are about to fight. It is Thunder King Imo Chao. Imo Chao is one of the two great Tao protectors of the Sky Sword sect. He has once defeated Stone Jade Devil Master. I've heard that he has even crossed the 10 Calamity Bridge in the Myriad Realms ancient nation and obtained a huge opportunity. Discussions were going on everywhere. Being able to become the person in charge of the invasion of the Black Devil Four Nations, Thunder King Imo Chao's reputation had spread far and wide. Even His Highness Blaze Wind and others had to give him some face. You are Imo Chao? Dongbo Shuaying said. You actually dare to block the entrance of my Sky Sword sect? How daring. Less nonsense, receive my move. Imo Chao bellowed. At the same time, his body turned into a stream of surging lightning and turned into an illusory figure of lightning and water. With a divine sword in his hand that looked like a stream of water, Imo Chao flashed toward Yingshan Snow Eagle. Overestimating your strength. Dongbo Shuaying's voice boomed. He flipped his hand. His palm abruptly expanded. 5 dimmed light appeared on the surface of his fingers, forming a huge palm that directly grabbed at Imo Chao. Imo Chao, who had turned into a lightning water stream figure, felt his heart trembling. He wanted to escape, but the huge palm came pressing down. 5 phases sealing. Space sealed. Even ultra-long distance teleportation could not escape from it. Any escape techniques were useless. The huge palm that was emitting light grabbed onto Imo Chao. No, Imo Chao struggled in despair. One could see many lightning bolts flashing between the fingers of the huge palm. Open for me. The lightning crackled. The sword light was dazzling. It seemed that the huge palm of Dongbo Shuaying had small gaps between the fingers, but in reality, the 5 phases sealing technique had sealed the entire space without leaving behind any flaws. 5 10th level techniques complemented each other perfectly. This power was sufficient to make other 10th level experts feel despair. There might be primal chaos experts in the entire Realm Heart Great Land who could break this technique, but Imo Chao was still lacking. South, under the dumbstruck gazes of many experts, Dongbo Shuaying kept his palm. The 5 phase beads had already appeared on his right wrist. The 5 phase beads were emitting a faint light. One could see a fist-sized space rapidly flying towards one of the beads. Within that fist-sized space, there was a lightning figure roaring and struggling with a sword. That sword technique was abnormally powerful, yet it was still sucked into one of the 5 phase beads. The 5 phase beads. Every single bead contained a void world, and it was most suitable to imprison enemies. Dongbo Shuaying felt that it would be more beneficial to him to capture the other party alive than to kill him. In the distant world, the disciples of the imperial and noble clans on the carriages and the cultivators watching were all stunned. Many of them were powerful and had high status, and they knew how powerful Thunder King Imo Chao was. He defeated Devil Master Stone Jade, crossed the 10 Calamity Bridge, and was one of the 2 protectors of the Sky Sword sect. Yet he was captured with a single palm? 5 phases sealing technique? The expression of His Highness Blaze Wind within the Sky Sword sect palace changed. 5 phases sealing technique? How could this be? The 5 phases sealing technique has appeared? He actually grasped the 5 phases sealing technique? A primal chaos expert actually grasped the 5 phases sealing technique? 100 Battle Devil God Fan Chu, who also looked up. The last time he saw this secret importation technique was during the Second War of the Ancient Nations. Chapter 1073. Your Highness Blaze Wind. Rain Dust Walker, who had been silent at the side, gave a rare reminder, hurry up and seal the space. All right. A scroll appeared in His Highness Blaze Wind's hand. When he activated the scroll, a blurry space immediately descended and enveloped the entire Sky Sword Palace. The 100 Battle Devil God Fan Chu, who, the black-robed expert, Rain Dust Walker, and the Waterfire envoys all calmed down in their hearts. Even though they could resist against Shuaying's 5 phases sealing technique if he were to use it against them, it was still possible for them to work together. The scary part was that Dongbo Shuaying was fast enough to deal with him alone. One had to admit that any of these 10th level experts present were absolutely not the opponents of that Snow Eagle in a one-on-one battle. The gap was so huge that it was exaggerated. How terrifying. He even managed to learn the 5 phases sealing technique. He succeeded in cultivating it at the Primal Chaos realm. Rain Dust Walker was very proud and aloof, but at this moment, he exclaimed in surprise. Yes, it is. The arrogant His Highness Blaze Wind looked up at the enormous magic dragon that was coiling in the sky. Looking at that white-robed young man on the back of the magic dragon, this was the first time he had the feeling of looking up to this Yingshan Snow Eagle. The world of cultivators was very simple. Although one's background was something to be proud of, strength was the most fundamental. When one's strength was completely surpassed, one would generally respect the strong. This was respect for strength. The 5 phases sealing technique. If I completely master the 3 worlds technique, I will have a chance of surpassing him. His Highness Blaze Wind thought to himself, but even after suffering so much, I was only able to cultivate the scroll of the past of the 3 realms technique. That clan brother of mine is so arrogant and confident. After cultivating the scroll of the past, he went to cultivate the scroll of the future. Lost in the future, he went completely mad. The past roll was the easiest. The scroll of the future contained the calamity of being lost. Once he lost himself in the future, he would really go crazy. The most difficult was the scroll of the present world, combining the 3 worlds into one. The difficulty was extremely high. In history, there were quite a few who went mad and even committed suicide. Hence, most people would pale at the mention of the 3 realms technique. Most would cultivate the future scripture after becoming a cosmos god, and only after reaching the 2nd level of cosmos god would they dare to touch upon the current scripture. The moment the 3 realms fused as one, their battle prowess was terrifying. Not in the past, not in the future, not in the present, the enemy's attacks couldn't even touch him. This technique was not any weaker than the Great Circle of Voidification. His battle prowess was even more impressive. Even though such a terrifying secret importation technique has been created, only cosmos gods dare to cultivate it. His Highness Blaze Wind sighed. 5 phases sealing art. 3 realms technique. There were also other similarly horrifying secret importation techniques. Most of them had reached the unparalleled realm. Like existences like Ancestor Fan, they had reached the pinnacle and had turned back to research on their own Dao paths. For instance, deducing the primal chaos realm and creating their own pinnacle techniques. This was theoretically possible. For instance, the 5 phases sealing technique was theoretically achievable by primal chaos experts. But how many could reach the pinnacle in 5 different Dao paths at the primal chaos realm? It was all theoretically possible. In reality, the possibility of success was extremely low. As for those truly unparalleled existences in Realm Heart Great Land, they did not care if their juniors could cultivate it or not. No matter what, they would create it first. The method was right here. If you had the ability, go and cultivate it. The more powerful you are, the more hardships you have to endure. His Highness Blaze Wind raised his head, feeling a little envious in his heart. Although it was difficult to master it, once he succeeded, he would truly be able to sweep through all those at the same level. Dongbo Shuang looked downwards. Seeing the group of 10th level experts in the Sky Sword Hall so frightened that they were using secret treasures to isolate space, the edge of his lips curled upwards. He then announced, I, Yingshan Snow Eagle, am here to challenge an expert from the Sky Sword sect. This Mo Chao's strength is ordinary, and he could not even resist against a single move of mine. Unless the Sky Sword sect is only this strong? His voice was like a wave that spread out in all directions. Provocation. Smacking their faces. Dongbo Shuang wanted to rely on this to deal a huge blow to the reputation of the Sky Sword sect. Within the Sky Sword sect palace, His Highness Blaze Wind and the others would not feel embarrassed since they were not disciples of the Sky Sword sect. 5 phases sealing technique. How could there be any disciple from the Sky Sword sect who could fight against him openly? 100 Battle Devil God Fan Chu who shook his head. Let's not talk about fighting openly. Even if we were to search for experts across the entire Realm Heart Great Land, there are only a few who could defeat this Snow Eagle at the Primal Chaos Realm. All of them are treasures of the various superpowers. It is impossible for the Sky Sword sect to invite him. His Highness Blaze Wind said. In terms of cultivation techniques, the 5 phases sealing technique was absolutely ranked at the forefront at the Primal Chaos Realm. But there were more than 10 techniques that were stronger than it. But the stronger it was, the harder it was to cultivate it. There were pitifully few who succeeded in cultivating it in the past, much less those in the current era. Because those who could cultivate such heaven-defying secret importation techniques were usually those with terrifying comprehension abilities and accumulations. They would break through to the Cosmos God realm not too long after. Just like Dongbo Shuang who succeeded in cultivating the 5 phases sealing technique, it was equivalent to him taking a step into the Cosmos God realm. It would not be long before he became a Cosmos God. Hence, those who succeeded in cultivating a terrifying secret importation technique in the past had almost all become Cosmos Gods. In the current era, there were very few who could defeat Dongbui Shuiying at the Primal Chaos realm. They were all treasures of the various superpowers. Furthermore, non-disciples from the Sky Sword sect were not qualified to participate in the open challenge. He couldn't even resist a single move? This strength is too frightening. Some new Cosmos Gods should not be able to resist against him. Cosmos Gods have to cultivate for a long period before they could fight against this Snow Eagle. Those new Cosmos Gods? They are merely at the 10th level. How could they be the opponent of this Yingshan Snow Eagle? There were many spectators watching the battle from all directions. Many carriages were moving in midair. Many experts were discussing among themselves. Even Primal Chaos experts felt reverence towards this white-robed young man who stood on the huge magic dragon. The strength was truly frightening. The moment the 5 phases sealing technique was unleashed, even 10th level experts could not escape from it. Even new Cosmos Gods would be captured. These Primal Chaos experts would be swept away like ants in a palm. The strength. Even the most talented experts from the 6 great ancient nations who could obtain guidance from unparalleled existences should only reach this standard. Many of them were filled with admiration and envy. Such a frightening expert could appear in our Black Devil 4 nations too. Amazing. He would most likely become famous across the Realm Heart Great Land soon. Many people even felt proud of him. No matter what, they were from the Black Devil 4 nations. In the vast Realm Heart Great Land, the Black Devil 4 nations were just a small region at the corner. It was unremarkable. This small place was not viewed highly by superpowers like the Summer Wind Ancient Nation. Naturally, they would feel disdain towards it. Nevertheless, an expert like Yingshan Snow Eagle, who grasped the 5 phases sealing technique, was someone none of the Primal Chaos experts from the ancient nations dared to belittle. Even though there were many spectators discussing about it, in reality, there were quite a few Cosmos Gods watching the battle from afar. After all, this was a battle between the Sky Sword sect and the Southern Cloud Sacred Religion. Especially Sky Sword King and Southern Cloud King, these 2 ambitious characters of the current era. They were also watching in the dark. Snow Eagle. The voice of his teacher sounded by the ears of Dongbui Shuiying. Teacher. Dongbui Shuiying replied. Capture that person called Mo Chao alive. If you don't object, I'll let Sky Sword King redeem him. Southern Cloud King transmitted. I naturally won't object. Dongbui Shuiying captured the other party alive precisely for the sake of redeeming him. Directly killing the other party would earn him some secret treasures. Redeem? Only then could he earn a huge sum of Cosmos crystals. Dongbui Shuiying did not treat Thunder King Mo Chao as an opponent, and neither did he have any hatred towards him. After all, they were from their own religion. Alright, you should maintain your stance and continue blocking the door. Southern Cloud King ordered. Yes. Dongbui Shuiying understood that his strength had seriously hindered the plans of the Sky Sword sect to enter the Black Devil 4 nations. Clearly, both parties had begun negotiating. The Sky Sword sect previously sent Chang Su Wang and others to block the door of my Southern Cloud Sacred Palace. They even killed quite a few outer disciples. Their methods are ruthless. Dongbui Shuiying sat cross-legged on the back of the winding magic dragon. His voice reverberated in the world. I still thought that the Sky Sword sect would have some formidable experts. This Mo Chao is quite courageous, albeit slightly weak. Currently, there isn't anyone who dares to fight against me, Snow Eagle? The surging void wave had already surrounded the entire Sky Sword sect palace. He continued blocking the door. It seemed as if he wanted to block the door for more than 100 million years. Many experts from the Sky Sword sect gritted their teeth, yet none dared to act. Every single one of them felt fear and reverence towards the strength of this Yingshan Snow Eagle. Chapter 1074. The magic dragon was huge and meandering. Its pair of lake-like eyes looked downwards. It was relatively delighted. When it was under the command of Southern Cloud King, it was merely a livestock that pulled the carriage. But following its current master, Yingshan Snow Eagle, how glorious was it! Dongbui Shuiying sat cross-legged on the back of the magic dragon. He was pondering in his heart, there might be some primal chaos existences stronger than me in the Realm Heart Great Land, but none among the disciples from the Sky Sword sect. Furthermore, those primal chaos existences stronger than me could only defeat me and not kill me. He was confident of himself. He was powerful, and his attainments in the Mirage and Illusory realm had similarly reached the pinnacle of Primal Chaos realm. His soul did not have any flaws. If we continue fighting, the Sky Sword sect won't have any chance of winning. They would most likely admit defeat. I wonder how much Thunder King Mo Chao can sell for. Dongbo Shuang thought. He still had to rely on this to purchase more Mirage and Illusory realm treasures. Even though his teacher, Southern Cloud King, should be willing to lend it to him if he asked for it. But Dongbo Shuang was not a shameless person. Southern Cloud King would likely feel frustrated if he asked for it again and again. The 5 phase beads were given to him by his teacher, and that was a different story. Furthermore, the 5 phase beads were worth about 20 billion cosmos crystals. This was because the 5 phase beads had been refined for many years, and no one under Southern Cloud King had succeeded in refining it. That was why he gave it to Dongbo Shuang. He had already gained a huge advantage and did not dare to ask for more. Wang. With a thought, Dongbo Shuang sent a strand of consciousness into the 5 phase beads where Thunder King Mo Chao was imprisoned in the Void World. This was a sealed world. Being a top-graded secret treasure, it was incredibly stable. Even if Cosmos gods were locked in, not many could escape from it. I'm doomed. The violet-robed male Mo Chao sat cross-legged in the void. He looked around him. It was a vast sealed space. Mo Chao's eyes were filled with despair. He was already struggling and thinking of ways, yet he could not escape. He could not shake this sealed space at all. I, Mo Chao, am doomed just like this? No, Yingshan Snow Eagle did not kill me. I still have hope of surviving. Mo Chao's heart was in chaos. It was common for experts to fall in the battles between superpowers in the Realm Heart Great Land. Quite a few Cosmos gods had fallen, and the death of a 10th level expert could not even cause a ripple. I've been through so many trials and tribulations. Back then, I even went to Myriad Realm's ancient country alone. Under a situation where no one thought highly of me, I passed the 10 Tribulations bridge. That's how I got my current strength and status. Mo Chao gritted his teeth. He was indignant. How indignant? The path of cultivation was extremely difficult. It was not easy to reach this step. However, once he failed, everything would be lost. Phew. A blurry figure appeared. It was none other than the white-robed Dongbo Shuang. Yingshan Snow Eagle. Mo Chao immediately stood up. He stared at Dongbo Shuang. His eyes were filled with vigilance. Show me all your treasures. Dongbo Shuang said. What are you going to do? Mo Chao was on guard. What? You still want to resist even after reaching this stage? If I want to kill you, the 5 phases sealing technique is sufficient to suppress you to death. Dongbo Shuang said. Mo Chao understood this point. He had personally experienced the feeling of the 5 phases sealing technique. That time, it merely restricted him, yet that grand and irresistible force was something he could not resist against. He tried his best but could not resist against the spatial binding pressure. It made him understand that as long as the entire technique was pressed down, it was sufficient to suppress him to death. Even if he had reached grand perfection in the Sky Sword Undying Body, he could at most resist a few times. Here. Mo Chao waved his hand. At that moment, all his storage treasures and weapons flew out. Dongbo Shuang pointed out, causing a strand of ripple to permeate into the body of Mo Chao. Even though Mo Chao wanted to obstruct it, he did not dare to. He could only allow Dongbo Shuang to inspect his treasures. You did not hide anything. Dongbo Shuang then took all his treasures and inspected them. Mo Chao had a total of 2 formidable secret treasures. It's a pity that they were only at the 10th level. Actually, this was an ordinary situation. To primal chaos existences, powerful cosmos secret treasures could not be unleashed. They might even be coveted by cosmos gods. Hence, Mo Chao's situation was normal. Instead, it was Dongbo Shuang's situation that was abnormal. The Scarlet Cloud God Spear was discovered by him, and the Fan clan once wanted to buy it. The 5 phases beads was refined by his teacher, Southern Cloud King. He felt that his disciple had grasped the 5 phases sealing technique and was confident of protecting it. That was why he bestowed it to him. He believed that none of the cosmos gods dared to snatch his disciple away from him, the Southern Cloud King. After all, he had fought with unparalleled existences in the past for the sake of protecting the Southern Cloud sacred religion. I'll take the treasures away. As for your little life, it will depend on whether Sky Sword King is willing to redeem it. Dongbo Shuang said, if he offers a lower price, I can only kill you with a single order from my teacher. I understand. Mo Chao nodded. He knew that his little life was currently in the negotiation between Sky Sword King and Southern Cloud King. If the redeeming price was too high, Sky Sword King would not be willing to pay? He had to die. This was a negotiation between two religions. If the Sky Sword sect was not willing to shrink back, he would die. Seated cross-legged on the back of the magic dragon, Dongbua Shuiying sealed the entire Sky Sword sect palace. He did not care even if there were many spectators watching from afar. The sky turned from day to night. And finally it returned from night to day. Haha, brother Sky Sword, you can't be blamed this time. If you want to blame someone, blame your luck. Luck is with me and your defeat isn't unjust. I'm not angry. After all, nobody can do anything about the appearance of such a formidable young fellow. Two enormous consciousnesses clashed and conversed. The two of them had reached an agreement. The Sky Sword sect had prepared for a long time to invade the Black Devil Four Nations, and it had just begun. Even though Southern Cloud King was terrifying, Sky Sword King wasn't any weaker. He had more supporters behind him. This time they had made ample preparations. Sending a batch of experts like His Highness Blaze Wind, Fan Chu Hu Rain Dust Walker, was merely the beginning. The Sky Sword sect was prepared for a long battle. Because under ordinary circumstances, it was hard for there to be a huge gap between 10th level experts. Everything depended on the accumulation of battles over a long period of time. But this time the appearance of Ying Shan Snow Eagle. Furthermore, it was an open challenge. Even the supporters behind him could not represent the disciples of the Sky Sword sect to fight. Sky Sword King could only admit defeat. Not just that. Furthermore, Sky Sword King had made quite a huge sacrifice in the original battle within the territory of Towering Sky Ancient Nation. No choice. If he did not lower his head, Snow Eagle would most likely head to other cities in the Realm Heart Great Land and continue blocking the doors, and Southern Cloud King was clear that he could not force the other party too far. Even though it was an unspoken rule that the higher-ups would not kill when Primal Chaos disciples fought, it would shake the foundation of the entire Sky Sword sect if he forced the other party too far. By then, the Sky Sword King and even more terrifying existences behind him would tear apart all cordiality. Hence, it was better to take this opportunity to earn some benefits. The sky was already bright. Dongbua Shuiying, who sat on the back of the magic dragon, looked up at the distant horizon. It's the second day. I wonder how the negotiations are going? Just a moment later. Snow Eagle, everything has been settled. Sky Sword King is willing to use 8 billion Cosmos Crystals to redeem Mo Chao and his 2 10th level secret treasures. You should let him go now. Also, your mission has been completed. Come back. There is no need for you to stay in the fiery Zhao Nation any longer. Southern Cloud King transmitted. Yes, teacher. Dongbua Shuiying immediately sent a thought. With a wave of his hand, that violet-robed male Mo Chao appeared by the side. Mo Chao looked at the surrounding void in a daze. He looked at the huge black dragon and Snow Eagle who was looking at him. These are your secret treasures. Dongbua Shuiying waved his hand and threw out those 2 10th level secret treasures. Those 2 secret treasures were worth about 1.5 billion Cosmos Crystals. In other words, Mo Chao's life was exchanged for 6.5 billion Cosmos Crystals. This was the benefit of capturing someone alive. Naturally, this was given that the wealth of the Sky Sword King was relatively ordinary. If it were Southern Cloud King, who was as rich as him, the price demanded by the enemies would be much higher if he wanted to redeem a 10th level disciple or subordinate. Everyone knew that Southern Cloud King was wealthy. The Sky Sword King was ultimately squeezed dry by the 2 great ancient nations and was relatively poorer. Go. Dongbua Shuiying sat on the back of the magic dragon. With a single order, the magic dragon immediately wriggled and tunneled into the void. Mo Chao sighed inwardly as he watched this scene. This time the Sky Sword sect had lost terribly. But he rejoiced inwardly since he survived. This time, the Sky Sword sect has been defeated the moment they entered the Black Devil Four Nations. His Highness Blaze Wind and others within the Sky Sword sect palace understood that the Sky Sword sect had reached an agreement with the Southern Cloud sacred religion when they saw Mo Chao being released alive. No choice. Who would have thought that a Ying Shan Snow Eagle would appear and be so heaven-defying as to grasp the 5 phases sealing technique? They sighed. Dongbua Shuiying merely transmitted a message to Marquis Chu Ming before returning to the Southern Cloud capital. Within the meditation ground of the royal palace, Southern Cloud King sat cross-legged on the black grass field. Behind him, the white fog of the deep pond was rolling. He was currently smiling as he watched the white-robed young man who descended on the magic dragon. He felt satisfied. He could even deduce that his disciple Snow Eagle, who was half a step into the Cosmos God realm, would likely reach large success in the 5 phases sealing technique the moment he became a Cosmos God. By then, this disciple of his would become the second strongest expert in the Southern Cloud Nation, and a true helper of his. After all, his organization was ultimately too weak. Even if a heaven-defying expert were to rely on someone, it would be an ancient nation. Dongbo Shuiying flew down from the magic dragon. With a glance, he saw a group of people standing by the side of his teacher, Monarch Chunyu, Monarch Greedy Peng, and others. There were also a group of 10th-level conferred kings and personal disciples. All of them were waiting here for Dongbo Shuiying. Old Mother Ying Shan was beaming. She was clearly delighted. And those who were slightly jealous of 4th disciple Fu Ling Yun and 5th disciple Fu Ling Xiao in the past no longer felt jealous, because they were only at the 9th level despite being nurtured by their teacher. Currently, this junior disciple brother Ying Shan Snow Eagle was so strong that he had surpassed the senior disciple brother Gong Liang Yi and senior disciple sister Ghost Hunter whom they worshipped in the past. During this day, the great name of Ying Shan Snow Eagle had spread across the higher-ups of the Realm Heart Great Land, causing many experts to pay attention to this small region south of the Summer Wind Ancient Nation. As for the Southern Cloud Nation, it had long been boiling. Disciple greets teacher. Dongbo Shuiying walked up and respectfully bowed. Chapter 1075. Good. Southern Cloud King looked at Dongbo Shuiying with eyes filled with praise. He nodded. My Southern Cloud sacred religion has been fighting with the Sky Sword sect for many years, and we have always been on the losing end. This time they entered the fiery Zhao Nation with a fierce momentum, but Snow Eagle has grasped the 5 phases sealing technique, forcing them to retreat and admit defeat. They would rather suffer some losses. Haha, Snow Eagle has contributed immensely, and this time he will count it as 60,000 contribution points. Strictly speaking, this time the benefits that the Southern Cloud sacred religion earned was far more than what 60,000 contribution points could compare with. But as they had previously gifted the 5 phase beads, it was considered compensating Dongbo Shuiying in the dark. That was a top-graded secret treasure at the Cosmos God level. Many thanks, teacher. Dongbo Shuiying said. Congratulations, junior disciple brother. Monarch Greedy Peng chuckled. The first time I received orders from teacher, I earned a total of 60,000 contribution points. Adding it up, it was only after I became a Cosmos God that I accumulated 60,000 contribution points. Eldest disciple brother, senior disciple brother Gong Liang and I have yet to accumulate 60,000 contribution points. Empress Ghostly said. At the same time, her eyes brightened as she looked at Dongbo Shuiying. She was prideful deep in her bones. Even though there were some gigolos who sought pleasure, they were all treated as playthings by her. None of them had truly become Tao companions. At this moment, she felt that it was not bad if she could become Tao companions with this little junior disciple brother of hers. Gong Liang Yi looked at Dongbo Shuiying. He sighed inwardly. He had always felt that he was the most outstanding disciple of his teacher. As for eldest disciple brother Greedy Peng was originally a follower of Southern Cloud King. Because he did not abandon the king when he was in dire straits, the king heavily groomed him. In reality, Monarch Greedy Peng did not cultivate in the Void lineage. As for Gong Liang Yi, he cultivated in the Void lineage and was also the most outstanding. This little junior disciple brother has risen so quickly that it leaves others dumbfounded. Gong Liang Yi sighed in his heart. Junior brother Snow Eagle, we know that you used the 5 phases sealing technique and captured the Sky Sword Path's Tao Protector in one move. We are all very happy. Even though I know that our Southern Cloud sacred religion has an absolute art, I have never seen anyone display it before. Fu Ling Xiao added. At this moment he did not feel arrogant. Instead he was filled with passion. Junior brother Snow Eagle, when the time comes, you must broaden our horizons. They spoke one by one. All right. In a while when the banquet starts, the few of you should have a good chat. Southern Cloud King chuckled. Yes. Imperial Emperor Greedy Peng, Dongbo Shuiying, Gong Liangyi, Lady Ghostly, Fu Lingyun and Fu Lingxiao answered in unison. Following that, the group began leaving for the banquet that was about to begin. After all, the Southern Cloud sacred religion had obtained many benefits from the towering sky ancient nation. Naturally they had to celebrate. Snow Eagle stays behind. Southern Cloud King ordered. Dongbo Shuiying stayed behind by himself. Only the teacher and disciple were left here. This is the 8 billion cosmos crystals given by the Sky Sword King. Southern Cloud King threw out a wristband to Dongbo Shuang. Dongbo Shuang checked through the wristband. Looking at the mountain of cosmos crystals within, he said, "Teacher, help me exchange my 60,000 contribution points for another 3 billion cosmos crystals." The contribution points of a personal disciple could be exchanged for 1 billion cosmos crystals with 10,000 contribution points. Some could even be exchanged for cosmos crystals directly. "You want so many cosmos crystals?" Southern Cloud King was startled. He flipped his hand and threw out another storage treasure. The huge amount of cosmos crystals obtained by the various branches in the Realm Heart Great Land would eventually reach the Southern Cloud King. Hence, he had a frightening amount of cosmos crystals. This disciple wishes to purchase a mirage and illusory realm's secret treasure, Dongbo Shuang said. After all, he would be buying it soon, and there was no need to hide it from his teacher. Southern Cloud King's eyes brightened. "You specialize in the mirage and illusory realm? That time when you dealt against that Jianghu Wang, you used the mirage and illusory realm?" "Yes." Dongbo Shuang nodded. "Have you reached the pinnacle?" Southern Cloud King asked. "Yes." Dongbo Shuang nodded again. Southern Cloud King's eyes widened. His heart started beating faster. Only after that did it gradually calm down. He understood that he had underestimated this disciple of his. The 5 phases sealing technique was very difficult, and the soul aspect was famous for its difficulty. Simply pushing the mirage and illusory realm to the 9th level was not any less difficult than the 5 phases sealing technique. Because techniques that targeted the soul were illusory and hard to touch. Like the illusory realm, created by Dongbo Shuang, that was actually another slightly more illusory world. There were many sentient beings within, and all of them felt that they were real. Every living being had their own personality and had their own journey in life. This technique was incredibly terrifying. Dongbo Shuang was the most heaven-defying genius in the mirage and illusory realm in the history of this origin world. He had cultivated for a long period, and after creating the 9-leaf destruction flower, he spent 1 trillion years accumulating knowledge before finally creating the 9th level, illusory realm world. Given his talent and comprehension abilities, he still needed such a long time. One could see how difficult it was. "You are so talented even in the mirage and illusory realm." Southern Cloud King sighed. Fortunately, there were quite a few cultivators who reincarnated from other origin worlds in the Realm Heart Great Land. Hence, there were many more talented geniuses than Dongbo Shuang. In addition, the foundation of the Realm Heart Great Land was deeper. There were even many unparalleled existences nurturing them. Hence, it was much easier to reach the 9th level in the Mirage and Illusory Realm than in the Primal Chaos Void. There were no scriptures in the Primal Chaos Void. It was Dongbo Shuang who opened the path himself. And here, just by himself, he had obtained 18 scriptures on the Mirage and Illusory Realm from the Southern Cloud Sacred Religion. Many of them had reached the 9th level and 2 had reached the Cosmos God level. If he had these scriptures in the Primal Chaos Void, Dongbo Shuang would most likely shorten the time he took to create the Illusory Realm world by 10 times. Naturally, it was different to having someone guide him. But he had to rely entirely on himself. He had suffered too much on the path of cultivation, allowing Dongbo Shuang to have a firm foundation in the Mirage and Illusory Realm. When are you prepared to buy the Mirage and Illusory Realm's secret treasures? Southern Cloud King chuckled. After the banquet. I'll set off earlier. This disciple is getting impatient. Dongbo Shuang chuckled. Southern Cloud King chuckled and nodded. He understood that this disciple of his had most likely reached the pinnacle of the Mirage and Illusory Realm when he killed Jianghu Wang. It's just that Shuang did not ask him for cosmos crystals. This made Southern Cloud King like this disciple even more. He understood that the Void lineage and Mirage and Illusory Realm lineage were so heaven-defying. Previously, there were only a few geniuses at the Primal Chaos Realm who could defeat his disciple. But now, Southern Cloud King felt that it would be hard for his disciple to find an opponent at the Primal Chaos Realm across the entire Realm Heart Great Land. Don't be arrogant. Southern Cloud King could not help but remind, those who are truly talented have long become cosmos gods. Like Paragon Jia Luo from the Towering Sky Ancient Nation, he is also the only one who succeeded in grasping the 5 phases sealing technique at the Primal Chaos Realm. Currently, he is also a paragon from the Towering Sky Ancient Nation. I understand. Dongbo Shuang nodded. His gaze had always been staring at cosmos gods and even at Sacred Master. After the celebratory banquet, Dongbo Shuang kept his aura by himself before leaving the Southern Cloud Ancient Nation. He began searching for Mirage and Illusory Realm secret treasures. In the entire Realm Heart Great Land, there were only a total of 8 10th level Mirage and Illusory Realm secret treasures that were willing to be sold. The public bid ranged from 12 billion to 20 billion cosmos crystals. Ultimately, Dongbua Shuiying had to personally inspect them before he knew if they were the most suitable for him. Because to him, this Mirage and Illusory Realm secret treasure could not only greatly increase his strength, but it could also allow him to unleash a 10th level technique in advance. This was a technique at the Cosmos God level. By unleashing it and experiencing it in advance, it would be of great help to him in breaking through to the Cosmos God realm. He wanted to break through to the Cosmos God realm through the void. Hence, he had to do his best in the Mirage and Illusory realm. He inspected every single place. In the blink of an eye, Shuiying arrived at the Black Prison Ying Sea. There was an island nation formed from several 100,000 islands, the Thistleflower Nation. He came here to see the third Mirage and Illusory Realm secret treasure. Chapter 1076. Most of the 10th level Mirage and Illusory Realm secret treasures were consigned to the shops of the Fan Clan and other Apex forces. This was because if he sold it to a shop, the shop would buy it at a very low price. That was because secret treasures were highly sought after by experts who needed them. But for experts who didn't need it, it was really useless. If one said that other cultivation paths were common, then the Mirage and Illusory Realm Dao path was much rarer. There were even fewer who could reach the 9th level without relying on external materials. Buyers were rarely seen. When the secret treasure was sold to the shop would naturally lower the price. The owner was also unwilling to suffer too much of a loss. He would rather sell it on consignment and wait for a buyer to appear. Thistleflower Country. A white-robed youth appeared in midair and stared at a beautiful city in front of him. That was the capital of the Thistleflower Country. The Thistleflower Nation is also a Tier 3 small nation. It has a total of 1 Cosmos God and 2 10th level experts. Dongbua Shuiying thought. There were quite a few Tier 3 nations in the Realm Heart Great Land. For instance, some huge organizations disdained to bother with those desolate and dangerous places. For example, the Thistleflower Country was situated in the dangerous Black Prison Ying Sea. It was a country formed by hundreds of thousands of islands. Don't look down on third-rate countries. Even though they were young, those who dared to establish a nation were at least cosmos gods with deep foundations. Moreover, they would support each other and even form alliances. For example, the Thistleflower Kingdom was a member of the United Star Alliance, which was a coalition of many island nations in the south of the Dark Prison Sea. The Mirage and Illusory Realm secret treasures were all waiting for buyers who needed them. On the other hand, the place they were consigned to wasn't important. What he truly wanted could be reached from any nation in the Realm Heart Great Land. Thistleflower Country. The delicacies here aren't bad either. Dongbua Shuiying was having a meal at a tavern by the side of the street. Lord Snow Eagle, the owner of the secret treasure, has said that the lowest price will be 11.5 billion universe crystals. Suddenly there was a transmission. 11.5 billion universe crystals? Is still too expensive. Let me take another look. There are 8 Mirage and Illusory Realm secret treasures. I'll look through them one by one and choose the most suitable and cheapest one, Dongbua Shuiying replied. Alright, I will continue to persuade the owner of the secret treasure. Dongbua Shuiying smiled. The reason why he was enjoying the delicacies everywhere and checking the treasures slowly was because he wanted to buy as much time as possible so that he could lower the price. If one were to say that shops owned by Apex powers like the Fan Clan would have set a minimum price for their treasures, and there was no way to bargain. But consignment was different. It was a battle of wits with the owner of the secret treasure. It was not easy for a buyer to appear. Naturally, Dongbua Shuiying had to lower the price as much as possible. If he delayed a little, he might be able to reduce the price by 1 billion universe crystals. So desperate. Many of them are fish from the Dark Prison Sea. As Dongbua Shuiying ate the delicacies, he could guess that many cultivators were risking their lives for these fish. But for the sake of making money, for the sake of resources, for the sake of cultivation, they had to work hard. Nothing ever fell from the sky. For the first 2 secret treasures, the lowest price for one of them is 15.6 billion and the lowest price for the other is 11.5 billion. Dongbua Shuiying was calculating. He needed to be suitable and cheap. Hulu Hulu, the wine shop was bustling with activity. There were many guests too. Dongbua Shuiying was seated in a corner wearing a white robe. With his void-effete strength, it was hard for even primal chaos experts to discern his strength. Amen? Dongbua Shuiying looked up. His eyes were filled with a strand of astonishment. Everyone says that the United Star Alliance is chaotic and massacres are common. But who would have thought that I would encounter a huge massacre in the capital of the Thistleflower Nation? Many of the United Star Alliance were Tier 3 small nations. Some of them were even controlled by devils in the dark. Massacres, chaos, it was too common in the United Star Alliance. Simply speaking, the stronger a nation was, the more stable it would be. For instance, the Summer Wind Ancient Nation and the other 6 great ancient nations were much more stable. And in the United Star Alliance? It depended on the strength of the king. Some were more stable and some were as chaotic as the Black Devil Great Lake. So. Even though Dongbua Shuiying could sense it, the other guests in the wine shop could not. Many armies stealthily appeared in all directions of the wine shop. They vaguely formed a huge array that heavily surrounded the wine shop. Shua. A bewitching green-robed girl brought along 2 subordinates. She flew over from the army. At this moment she did not conceal her aura. A bewitching and cold aura spread out. My beloved husband, it has been hard for me to find you. The bewitching green-robed girl's voice reverberated in the world. Her eyes were looking at an attendant within the wine shop. The moment she finished speaking, Hong. The surrounding army's battle formation was completely activated. Boom. A large area of the surrounding area was completely enveloped, and the army even formed the phantom of a strange 2-headed beast. A large number of cultivators on the streets and in the taverns were all so frightened that their hearts trembled. It's over. It's the Sky Pillar clan's devil lady Xiayin. Teacher, will we be implicated? Let's see our fate. Don't make a sound. The surrounding cultivators, including the attendants, managers and even guests, were all trembling with fear. Living in the Thistleflower Nation, they were used to the occasional massacres happening in the country. It's just that they did not expect to encounter one this time. They hoped that they were lucky and would not be implicated. Xia, let's become Dao companions. Can you give me a way out? The attendant looked up. Aha, husband, you are really childish. How can I let you live? You are the final core disciple of the Ba Tua clan. The bewitching green-robed girl chuckled. Naturally, if you hand over your aura-concealing technique, I can promise you that I'll spare the lives of the lowest-ranked disciples of the Ba Tua clan. The Ba Tua clan was once a conferred king clan in the Thistleflower Nation. There were many disciples in the clan, and only those who reached the Void God level were core disciples. The others were commoners at the bottom of the hierarchy. Many of them had been sent out and their numbers were uncountable. Even if they wanted to massacre them, it was impossible to wipe out the bloodline of the Ba Tua clan that had been multiplying over the years. You are so ruthless. The eyes of the emissary Ba Tua Chin were filled with hatred. He was filled with hatred. A conferred king clan had been exterminated in a single day. His father and mother, his brothers and good friends, his clansmen, the entire Ba Tua residence had been exterminated. Aha, ruthless. Do you really think that I was infatuated with you? All right, obediently hand over your aura-concealing technique. On account that we were once Dao companions, I will preserve the bloodline of your Ba Tua clan. Otherwise, I will chase after all the bloodline of your Ba Tua clan in the entire United Star Alliance. The bewitching green-robed girl spoke coldly. You make it sound so nice. Do you think I will believe you? Go ahead and kill. You won't be able to kill all of us. There will be a day when an expert of my Ba Tua clan will rise and descend upon the Thistleflower Kingdom. The attendant Ba Tua Chin roared. Humph. The bewitching green-robed girl's eyes were filled with ruthlessness. Not handing it over? You are concealing yourself as an attendant. Everyone in the tavern will help you. Don't leave a single one alive. Everyone in the surroundings will be buried along with you. The managers of the tavern and even the customers revealed expressions of fear. The surrounding cultivators were trembling in their hearts. You, the attendant Ba Tua Chin roared, Xiayin, why are you implicating me? To tell you the truth, I obtained this technique by chance. However, this technique is forbidden from being divulged to outsiders. You didn't obtain the original copy? The green-robed girl sighed. Powerful techniques were usually forbidden from being divulged to outsiders. What a pity. The green-robed girl waved her hand. Kill them all. Don't leave a single one alive. No, General Xiayin. Please spare us. Sky Pillar Yang clan. You are the Sky Pillar clan of our Thistleflower Kingdom. You cannot do this. General Xiayin. The surroundings were filled with pleas. There were even some cultivators who knelt down. Kill them all. The green-robed girl didn't obtain the technique. Her ruthless eyes swept across the surroundings. Yes. The surrounding soldiers hesitated for a while before agreeing. Yeah. The white-clothed youth, who had been sitting in the corner of the tavern and watching everything calmly, sighed softly. Strangely, his sigh rang in the ears of everyone around him and every soldier in the army. Everyone faintly felt great fear. Those soldiers who were going to obey the order felt that they were unable to move. Unable to move. The green-robed girl stared at the white-robed youth in fear. She also discovered that she was unable to move. The surrounding void was completely suppressing her, making her unable to move. The white-robed youth sat there and said, "Manager, continue to serve the wine." Aye. The manager of the tavern, who was originally in despair, felt his heart trembling. He hurriedly helped to serve the wine, yet he wasn't affected at all. He could still move. Sir, this is a grudge between our Sky Pillar Yang clan and the Ba Tua clan. Sir, please do not interfere. The green-robed girl could not move, yet she still shouted out loudly. She especially said the two words Sky Pillar clearly. Sky Pillar. It had a special meaning in the United Star Alliance. It represented a clan that was like a sky pillar within a nation. Most of them were absolute experts at the 10th level. This was comparable to a cosmos god. It was logical for the green-robed girl to be arrogant. Sky Pillar Yang clan? Dongbo Shuiying softly nodded. Originally, I'm too lazy to get involved in this grudge between you two. I'm just going to kill them all and not leave a single one alive. These ordinary cultivators aren't enemies with your Yang clan, right? The expression of the green-robed girl turned ugly. What was so big about killing some ants? What? They are ants in your eyes? Dongbo Shuiying shook his head. It's a pity that you are an ant in my eyes too. Just as he finished speaking, the green-robed girl revealed a look of terror. Her body exploded into pieces and disappeared from the world. The entire place turned silent. All the soldiers and cultivators kept quiet out of fear. The daughter of the Sky Pillar Yang clan patriarch died just like that? Dongbo Shuiying's eyes were filled with coldness. His cultivation heart had determined that he could not tolerate those actions of slaughtering the weak. Perhaps he was weak and could not influence the realm heart great land. But he had encountered it. Naturally, he had to do something about it. Big trouble. Someone killed the daughter of the patriarch, General Xiayin. Not good. The surrounding cultivators were in a state of terror. Dongbo Shuiying merely sat there and continued drinking. Hong, a terrifying and dazzling aura descended from the distance. He was like a lump of dazzling light. Endless light surged and condensed into a human figure. At the same time, a furious roar reverberated across the sky. Who dares to kill my daughter, Xiayin? It's me. Dongbo Shuiying continued sitting there. He was even pouring wine for himself. Chapter 1077. Endless light condensed into a human figure. It was a furious bald old man. His entire body was glowing as if he was the ruler of all living beings. Who dares to kill my daughter Xiayin? His furious roar reverberated across the world. His killing intent swept out in all directions. Many cultivators on the streets felt their hearts turning cold under this killing intent. Their souls felt sluggish and their hearts were thumping. They looked at that figure with terror. The guests in the pub and the manager who had just served wine to Dongbo Shuiying were all staring at that figure emitting light in midair. How many citizens of the Thistleflower Nation did not recognize that terrifying existence? Sky Pillar King. Sky Pillar King. It's the Sky Pillar King. The Sky Pillar King is here. We are doomed. We are truly doomed this time. There were only 2 Sky Pillar Kings in the entire Thistleflower Nation, and they were both 10th level absolute experts. Their statuses were clearly much higher than other conferred kings. In the Thistleflower Nation, the highest status was the king, closely followed by the 2 Sky Pillar Kings. The moment they were angered, many would die. But many citizens were still filled with worship and respect for the Sky Pillar King, because with the existence of the 2 Sky Pillars and the king, their Thistleflower Nation could defend against external enemies and devils. If there were not enough experts in the nation, devils would likely run amok in the Thistleflower Nation. But no matter how much they respected the king at this moment, these cultivators could feel the danger of death descending upon them. They were still filled with terror. They did not wish to die. They even felt that they were wronged and were implicated in this calamity. I don't wish to die. I don't even have a Tao companion. No. I was still thinking of accumulating enough cosmos crystals to send my son to the Southern Cloud Sacred Religion to become an outer disciple and learn the Southern Cloud 12 sacred styles. But now, everything has turned into nothingness. Under the fury of the Sky Pillar King, we would most likely be exterminated with a thought. They were either filled with despair and unwillingness or facing it calmly. Of course, the soldiers were currently filled with joy. Instead, not many held expectations for Dongbu Shuiying because the influence of the Sky Pillar King was too great. In the eyes of many citizens of the Thistleflower Nation, he could fight against Cosmos gods. As long as Cosmos gods did not appear, the Sky Pillar King could sweep across all primal chaos existences. Even though that white-robed young man was powerful, the aura he released when he acted was merely at the primal chaos realm. It was not as dazzling and overbearing as the current Sky Pillar King. It's me. Dongbu Shuiying continued to pour wine for himself as he glanced at the bald old man who was glowing with a blinding light. He could sense the other party's rage and killing intent, and he continued to speak calmly. "What, you want to kill me?" The bald old man's gaze instantly fell on the enemy who killed his daughter, the white-clothed youth. "How dare you? How dare he drink at a time like this?" The bald old man suddenly quivered, and the monstrous killing intent in his heart was instantly extinguished. Instead, his entire body felt cold, and his heart trembled as he carefully observed the white-robed youth. Although Dongbu Shuiying had concealed his aura, his looks had not changed at all. After all, he was a new absolute expert from the Black Devil Four nations located far away from the Thistleflower Nation. He was located in a small region south of the Summer Wind Ancient Nation. In the Thistleflower Nation, there weren't many who knew about Shuiying. Most of them were primal chaos experts and some aristocratic clan disciples who paid special attention to intelligence. In reality, even Dongbu Shuiying would not deliberately collect information on the rising experts from the distant Myriad Realms Ancient Nation or Primogenitor Ancient Nation. It was only because his status and identity had reached a certain level that the Southern Cloud Sacred Religion would naturally transmit the latest intelligence to him. As for the aristocratic clan disciples in the Thistleflower Nation, they had to take the initiative to collect information. There weren't many who knew about Dongbu Shuiying. And being one of the two sky pillars of the Thistleflower Nation, old ancestor Yang Xiong from the Yang clan, he had naturally collected information on Dongbu Shuiying. "It's him? Yingshan Snow Eagle?" The bald-headed old man felt his body turning cold. He felt his heart trembling. The Tao protector of the Sky Sword sect, Thunder King Mo Chao, could not even resist against a single move before being captured alive by the 5 phases sealing technique. "My current strength is comparable to Thunder King Mo Chao at most. Perhaps I might even be slightly weaker. The moment the 5 phases sealing technique is used, I'll be finished in a single move." The bald-headed old man was clear of this point. He had lived for too long. He was originally an ordinary commoner in the Summer Wind Ancient Nation. Step by step he reached his current strength. He had experienced too many schemes and adventures between life and death. Even after reaching his current strength, he had never thought of returning to the Summer Wind Ancient Nation. Because in the Summer Wind Ancient Nation, his strength was considered nothing. How could he be as carefree as he was in the Thistleflower Nation? As for his original anger and killing intent, it had long dissipated. For the sake of his life, he did not care about his children. He had 265 children. So what if one of his daughters died? I don't dare. The bald-headed old man immediately retracted his aura. He landed on the ground. The smile on his face was incredibly passionate. It was so passionate that it felt flattering. With a few steps he arrived by the side of the wine shop. He even bowed towards Dongbu Shuiying and said with a smile, "Please forgive me. That lowly servant has offended Sir Snow Eagle and naturally deserves death. Even if Sir Snow Eagle doesn't act, I'll do so. That lowly servant doesn't know how to respect others." His voice only resounded in the surroundings. Only he and Dongbu Shuiying could hear it. The other guests in the wine shop and the cultivators by the side of the road could not hear it. He could flatter in front of Dongbu Shuiying, but he did not wish for those guests to hear what he said. What is going on? Sky Pillar King, why does it seem like, even though they could not hear what he said, they could see it? They saw the passionate smile on the face of Sky Pillar King Yang Xiong. He even bowed and apologized to that white-robed young man. "Wah. We've met a huge character. Who is it? For Sky Pillar King to be so fearful, is it a cosmos god? It should be a cosmos god." The surrounding wine shop managers, guests and cultivators by the side of the road felt joyous. There was hope. They had hope of surviving. Dongbu Shuiying drank by himself. He casually said, "Yang Xiong, other than this attendant by the side, the other cultivators did not offend your daughter, yet your daughter Xiayin wanted to slaughter them all. This isn't any weaker than those devils from the Black Devil Great Lake. Since she wants to kill so many people, I can only give her a taste of her own medicine. What? She dared to do that? Previously she was quite ruthless. Who would have thought that she dared to do such a thing? Yang Xiong had a furious look on his face. In reality, he already knew of the ruthless personality of his daughter. Oh. Suddenly, a figure appeared in the distance. It was a plump male. As that male walked over, there was a faint illusion of flowers blooming around him. Many cultivators present felt joy from the bottom of their hearts. King. Everyone present was respectful. The one who came was the Thistle Flower King. So it is Ying Shan Snow Eagle. Why didn't you inform me when you came to my Thistle Flower Nation? Thistle Flower King chuckled. At the same time he glanced at the bald-headed old man. Yang Xiong, your daughter actually offended Ying Shan Snow Eagle. In a while you must properly apologize to him during the banquet. Definitely. The bald-headed old man said. Greetings, King. Dongbua Shuang stood up. He could disregard Yang Xiong, but he had to show some respect to Thistle Flower King. I have long heard of your fame, Ying Shan Snow Eagle. Who would have thought that we would meet so soon? It seems that Brother Snow Eagle is fated with me. Thistle Flower King passionately said. He addressed the other party as brother, in just a few sentences. This was normal. Even now the two of them were not too far apart in strength. But after grasping the 5 phases sealing technique, it was foreseeable that he would become a cosmos god in the void lineage. By then this Snow Eagle would be stronger than him, Thistle Flower King. Furthermore, there was an extremely terrifying existence behind the back of Ying Shan Snow Eagle, Southern Cloud King. Southern Cloud King had to swallow his anger when facing those unparalleled existences from the 6 great ancient nations. But facing this king from a Tier 3 nation, he could easily suppress the other party. Zim Yang Xiong. The attendant Ba Tua Chen by the side saw Yang Xiong. First he felt despair. After that, he saw how Yang Xiong was so humble in front of this white-robed young man. His daughter had died, yet he did not even dare to let out a fart. King. Following that, he saw the strongest expert in the Thistle Flower Nation, Thistle Flower King, chatting with the white-robed young man passionately. Brother Snow Eagle, go. Let's go to my palace. What are you eating here? My delicacies and wine are much better than this. Thistle Flower King said. There's no need to be so polite, King. Dongbua Shuang said, I still have other matters and will not delay any longer. Senior. The attendant Ba Tuachin suddenly shouted out. At this moment, everyone was silent. Thistle Flower King and Yang Xiong were treating that white-robed young man so passionately. Who dared to say anything? But this shout attracted the attention of many people. It also attracted the attention of Thistle Flower King Yang Xiong and Dongbua Shuang. This was the first time Ba Tuachin was stared at by the king. Senior. Ba Tuachin looked at Dongbua Shuang. With a pang, he knelt down heavily. He knew that if he missed this opportunity, he would be consigned to eternal damnation. It was hard for him to control his time when he was outside. Everyone please forgive me. The second chapter was still being written. Chapter 1078. Senior. Ba Tuachin knelt down. He looked pleadingly at the white-robed young man in front of him. He added, My Ba Tua clan was originally a conferred king clan in the Thistle Flower Nation. It's just that my Ba Tua clan was coveted by Sky Pillar King Yang Xiong. He actually personally acted to exterminate my Ba Tua clan. Fortunately, I wasn't in the residence at that time, allowing me to survive until now. Shut up. Yang Xiong roared from the side. Your Ba Tua clan old ancestor invited me to meet, yet he found an opportunity to ambush me with arrays and poisons. That was why I acted with my full strength and affected your residence. But the remaining core disciples of my clan are being chased after. Even though Ba Tuachin felt an unseen pressure, he still argued, currently I'm the only one alive. I have relied on the aura concealment technique to hide until now. Yang Xiong indifferently said, after killing Ba Tua, why would I place the remaining disciples of your clan in my eyes? I believe it's the people under my Yang clan who feel that it's better to exterminate the weeds by the roots. Furthermore, there's nothing wrong with exterminating the weeds by the roots. It's just that Xiayin is too foolish. She actually dared to kill so casually and offended Sir Snow Eagle. Even if Sir Snow Eagle didn't kill her, I would have done so. Enough. Thistle Flower King said from the side, let's forget about this matter. Yang Xiong, you should let this little fellow off too. Since King has asked, I'll naturally not pursue the matter. Furthermore, I've never placed this brat in my eyes. Yang Xiong said. How low was the probability of a 10th level expert emerging? How many had emerged in the history of the Thistleflower Nation? Actually, Yang Xiong had ordered to exterminate the weeds by the roots. But in his heart he did not care about it. He did not think that the remaining few brats could give birth to an existence that could threaten him. It's him who caused my daughter's death and even offended Ying Shan's Snow Eagle. Yang Xiong felt frustrated. I should let him off for now. After this matter is over, I can exterminate him stealthily. Senior, my Batua clan. Batua Chen looked at Dongbua Shuiying and begged. Enough. Shuiying said, the king has already said that this matter should be dropped, so let's drop it then. It isn't appropriate for you to stay in this Thistleflower Nation anymore. I'll be leaving in a while, so you should follow me. Yes. Batua Chen calmed down. His life was saved. He knew that once this Lord Snow Eagle left, the Heaven Pillar Yang clan would have ways to kill him silently. Country King, I still have some matters to attend to. I'll take my leave first. Thank you for your kind intentions. Dongbua Shuiying smiled. Haha, since Brother Snow Eagle has something to do, I won't stop you. If you have time in the future, remember to come to my place. Thistleflower King chuckled. My Thistleflower Nation might not be as fertile as the Southern Cloud Nation, but we do have some unique delicacies and wine. Definitely. Dongbua Shuiying nodded. I wanted to use the banquet as an excuse to make amends, but Lord Snow Eagle is about to leave. Please forgive us, Lord Snow Eagle, Yang Xiong said. Dongbua Shuiying smiled. Wah. The space beside him started to distort, and Dongbua Shuiying brought Batua Chen along as they stepped into it, disappearing from sight. Destruction Realm Teleportation Technique. The Thistleflower King muttered as he watched. Even though he was a king, he did not know how to execute this technique. They finally left. Yang Xiong let out a sigh of relief. It is fine if your daughter is violent outside, but she is like this even in the capital? Your Yang clan is ultimately a Sky Pillar clan of my Thistleflower Nation. Thistleflower King frowned. It is I who did not teach her well. Yang Xiong added, I'll definitely settle this matter cleanly. I'll immediately prepare a generous gift and send it over to Feishua City. Amen. Thistleflower King softly nodded. No other choice. A small nation like theirs did not dare to offend a huge organization. Ying Shan Snow Eagle and the Southern Cloud King behind him were too strong a deterrent to the Thistleflower Nation. Just Snow Eagle alone could sweep across the entire Thistleflower Nation after becoming a cosmos god. They could not help but feel nervous. To the weak, there might be laws within the nation. Reaching the level of Thistleflower King, they were the ones who made the laws. What did they rely on to make the laws? Naturally, it was strength. An expert like Snow Eagle absolutely had the strength to wipe out an entire nation. This city in front of them was huge and boundless. The array aura was grand, and even Dongbua Shuiying felt pressured. This is? Batua Chen looked at the city in front of him. Summer Wind Capital. Dongbua Shuiying said, this is one of the few huge cities in the entire Realm Heart Great Land. This capital has more people than the entire population of my Southern Cloud Nation. Much less that small Thistleflower Nation of yours. There are many experts here, including a bunch of cosmos gods. There are also many different religions. The Yang clan will definitely not dare to come and find you, much less behave atrociously here. The Summer Wind Ancient Nation had strict laws. Being the capital, even the 3 religious masters from the Black Devil Great Lake did not dare to come here. Even if they wanted to create chaos in the Summer Wind Ancient Nation, they would only go to some small cities. Even in small cities they had to be careful. This was the power of the Summer Wind Ancient Nation. Batua Chen looked at the city in front of him. His eyes were filled with light. Summer Wind Capital? That was a city that only existed in the legends. If he were to rush over, how many teleportation arrays would he have to pass through? How many nations would he have to pass through? The consumption of cosmos crystals would make him feel despair. This Summer Wind Capital was filled with endless possibilities. Properly cultivate here. You will have to walk your own path from now on. Dongbua Shuiying said. Many thanks, Senior. This junior will never dare to forget Senior's kindness. Batua Chen knelt down in gratitude. The other party who was not related to him had given him a future. He felt incredibly grateful in his heart. May this junior know the name of Senior? Batua Chen asked. Even though the king and the others had mentioned the name Snow Eagle in the beginning, they had restrained their voice to prevent these ordinary cultivators from hearing it. I am called Ying Shan Snow Eagle, Dongbo Shuang said. He then entered the distorted void and disappeared. Ying Shan Snow Eagle, Ying Shan Snow Eagle. Ba Tuochen memorized this name. It was this white-robed young man called Ying Shan Snow Eagle who gave him a future. There will be a day when I can kill that Yang Xiong and stand in front of Senior Ying Shan Snow Eagle again. Ba Tuochen immediately stood up and walked towards the city gates of the summer wind capital. The vast sea allowed the fish to leap, and the vast sky allowed the bird to fly. Even if the chances were slim, he could not forget the hatred of the extermination of his clan. Naturally, he had to grab hold of the opportunity to cultivate in the summer wind capital. Hoo hoo hoo, the wind whistled. There were 15 resplendent stars in the sky. Regardless of whether it was day or night, there would always be 15 resplendent stars above the primogenitor ancient nation's extreme night city. These 15 resplendent stars were emitting starlight that enveloped the huge city below. Extreme Night City. The white-robed Dongbo Shuang stood in midair. There was a mirage and illusory realm secret treasure over at the Thistleflower Nation. But since he had revealed himself, it was not appropriate for him to go and see that secret treasure. Because the moment he asked for the price, he could bargain with the owner of the secret treasure through the shop. By then, the owner of the secret treasure would be able to guess his identity. Dongbo Shuang did not wish for the matter of him purchasing the Mirage and Illusory Realm secret treasure to be made public. Even though the manager of the apex shops that were consigned to sell the secret treasure would know about it, the reputation of such shops was fundamental. If the customer did not wish to publicize it, the shop would naturally help to keep it a secret. Towards that Yang Xiong, Dongbo Shuang did not have any killing intent. Because Yang Xiong was the Sky Pillar clan old ancestor of the Thistleflower Nation, he was simply a local tyrant. There were several tens of thousands of islands under his control. Hence, Yang Xiong was doing his best to protect the islands under him. His existence was to ensure the safety of the citizens under him. This person was not a huge devil who would kill wantonly. Hence, Dongbo Shuang would naturally not act against him. Looking across the realm heart great land. Which expert was not ruthless. As long as the other party was not a devil who would kill wantonly, Dongbo Shuang could tolerate it. Because there were very few experts who truly pitted the cultivators at the bottom of the hierarchy. Instead, people like Yang Xiong and Thistleflower King were more commonly seen. Even his teacher, Southern Cloud King, might value his citizens, but it was not considered pitiful towards the weak. According to the intelligence he knew, his teacher, Southern Cloud King, had an extremely tyrannical side. That was something he could tolerate. Only those devils who killed wantonly would even sacrifice trillions of lives as a blood sacrifice. As long as Dongbo Shuang could kill these devils, he would naturally not be lenient towards them. I've acted once in the Thistleflower Nation. Since that's the case, that secret treasure consigned by the Thistleflower capital will be the last to be seen. Dongbo Shuang walked towards the Extreme Night City ahead. Let's see the one consigned by the Extreme Night City first. The primogenitor ancient nation had two primogenitors. They were both existences who had reached the unparalleled level. One was known as Eternal Night Primogenitor, and the other was Extreme Night Primogenitor. Eternal Night Primogenitor was famous for refining magic servants. His attainments in refining magic servants were unquestionably the strongest across the entire Realm Heart Great Land. It was fine for large batches of Primal Chaos Realm magic servants to be produced since they were commonly seen in the Summer Wind Ancient Nation. More importantly, Eternal Night Primogenitor could refine magic servants with the strength of a Cosmos God. He had refined a total of 9 great Cosmos God magic servants, and they were also known as the 9 Eternal Night Walkers. Every walker was absolutely loyal to Eternal Night Primogenitor. They represented the will of Eternal Night Primogenitor. The 9 of them had varying strengths, but the weakest was stronger than Thistleflower King, and the strongest had a portion of Eternal Night Primogenitor's strength. They could most likely fight against Southern Cloud King. The 9 great walkers under him, that allowed Eternal Night Primogenitor to have a strong control over his subordinates. And the true body of Extreme Night Primogenitor was said to be a sea of blood in the Realm Heart Great Land. He had given birth to spirituality and cultivated to his current stage. His research on blood was also the strongest in the entire Realm Heart Great Land. A drop of his blood essence could allow a cultivator to be reborn, greatly increasing their strength. For instance, a 10th level expert who absorbed a drop of blood essence would have a greater chance of breaking through to the Cosmos God realm. It's just that the moment they absorbed his blood essence, they would be absolutely loyal to him and would not go against him. Those who absorbed his blood essence would also address him as primogenitor. Amongst the 6 great ancient nations, the primogenitor ancient nation could be said to have the strongest control and cohesiveness. Naturally, in terms of strength, the primogenitor ancient nation could only be ranked in the middle of the 6 great ancient nations. Amen? Dongbo Shuiying walked within the vast and flourishing Extreme Night City. There were many experts here. I've heard that Extreme Night Primogenitor has broken through to the Cosmos God realm after absorbing his blood essence, and there are even 15 sons. At the same time, there are some other Cosmos gods who have pledged allegiance to him for the sake of obtaining the blood essence of Extreme Night Primogenitor for the sake of researching. There are quite a number of Cosmos gods under him. Other than directly absorbing a drop of blood essence from Extreme Night Primogenitor, there were many other uses for it too. For instance, it could be used to nurture insects or alter one's fleshy body. It was sold for a whopping 10 billion Cosmos crystals. It was terrifyingly expensive. I've arrived. Dongbo Shuiying looked at this dazzling and resplendent golden construct in front of him. There was a mark of 15 stars on this golden construct. It was none weaker than the Fan Clan's shop, the Extreme Night Palace. Chapter 1079. The Extreme Night Palace was ranked in the top 5 across the entire realm Heart Great Land. And the Extreme Night Palace located in one of the 2 great sacred cities of the primogenitor ancient nation, Extreme Night City, was even more flourishing. Suring Shan Snow Eagle, please enter. Just as Dongbo Shuiying arrived outside the Extreme Night Palace, a Primal Chaos Realm manager came to welcome him. He had stealthily found out the identity of Dongbo Shuiying. I want to see the Heart of Desire, and do not wish for others to know about it. Dongbo Shuiying directly transmitted. This manager's expression was calm. He transmitted back, Suring Shan Snow Eagle can be rest assured. Ever since my Extreme Night Palace came into being, there has never been a case of any secret being leaked. Dongbo Shuiying nodded. In terms of influence, the Extreme Night Palace could only be considered in the top 5 trading companies. But in terms of credibility, it was ranked first alongside the Fan Clan shop. There had never been a case of a secret being leaked that affected the customers. Like other trading companies, there had been slip-ups in history. After all, no matter how strict the rules were, those who truly controlled the trading company were powerful cosmos gods. Due to their selfish desires, they would naturally make use of some secrets within the trading company. But the Fan Clan shop and the Extreme Night Palace were different. Their credibility was absolutely perfect. One could see how formidable the masters behind these 2 trading companies, Extreme Night Primogenitor and Ancestor Fan, were in controlling their subordinates. Skyrending Great Paragon, Slaughter Great Paragon, and other fierce and tyrannical existences were extremely obedient in front of Ancestor Fan. There was no need to talk about Extreme Night Primogenitor. After absorbing his blood essence, he became absolutely loyal. Suring Shan Snow Eagle, please wait here for a moment. The manager brought Dongbo Shuiying into a side hall. In a while, the Heart of Desire will be sent over. All right. Dongbo Shuiying sat down cross-legged. He was drinking the warm wine in front of him. Just a moment later, the black-robed manager entered once again. With a flip of his hand, a wooden pole appeared in front of Dongbo Shuiying. This wooden pole was embedded with a palm-sized black stone. Can I take a look at it? Dongbo Shuiying asked. Of course. The black-robed manager chuckled. Ordinary primal chaos existences were not qualified to see treasures that were worth more than 10 billion cosmos crystals. But Ying Shan Snow Eagle was absolutely not ranked in the front. Dongbo Shuiying grabbed onto this ordinary-looking scepter. This wooden scepter was indeed ordinary. His gaze landed on the black stone at the tip of the wooden scepter. Just by looking at it, he could feel an intense temptation coming from the black stone. He could not help but stare at it. He had a feeling of being immersed in it. But he was ultimately an expert who reached the 9th level in the Mirage and Illusory realm, and he could easily control his heart. Buzz. His consciousness seeped into his senses. The black stone was the Heart of Desire. The wooden staff was only there to protect the black stone. Dong dong. As soon as his consciousness seeped into the black stone, he felt as if the black stone was expanding and contracting just like a heartbeat. Dongbo Shuiying remained unmoved. Gradually he saw a vast world shrouded in endless pink mist. There were countless living beings in this world, but the desire in this world was too strong. For the sake of love, hate, greed, lust, worry, shock, joy, all sorts of emotions and desires, countless disputes arose in the entire world. Desire. Dongbu Shuang revealed a joyous look. When one reached the pinnacle of primal chaos realm and advanced to the cosmos god realm, the void lineage would only be split into a few paths. He had grasped the 5 phases sealing technique, and he had occupied half the path. Similar logic. The mirage and illusory realm was split into a few paths too. His primary path was the world path. Furthermore, he specialized in the slaughter path. After all, his 9-petaled flower was a terrifying killing technique that was directly condensed from the mirage and illusory realm world. It was only fused with part of the profound mysteries from the Tao of slaughter. This heart of desire has 2 paths. One is the world path and the other is the desire path. Dongbu Shuang thought. Desire was also a relatively common path in the mirage and illusory realm. Falling into desire and sinking into the illusory realm, this treasure isn't bad. Dongbu Shuang was inwardly delighted. With the world path, I should be able to unleash a 10th level strength after comprehending it for a period. It might even guide me towards becoming a cosmos god. As for the desire path, after I become a cosmos god, I should similarly cultivate in other paths. Dongbu Shuang placed the wooden pole in his hand on the table. Sering Shan Snow Eagle, how is it? The manager by the side asked with a smile. Nevertheless, he was startled inwardly. His consciousness was not affected at all. Those with weaker souls might be able to resist against it, but they would still be slightly affected. Does Sering Shan Snow Eagle like this heart of desire? The manager chuckled. He liked it. Naturally, he liked it. It could allow him to grasp the 10th level mirage and illusory realm technique rapidly. Furthermore, it allowed him to peek into the desire path of the mirage and illusory realm. What's the price? Dongbu Shuang asked. The black-robed manager grinned. 20 billion cosmos crystals. Don't talk about such an inflated price. How about the lowest price? Dongbu Shuang asked. This is a treasure that contains 2 10th level techniques. The black-robed manager said, furthermore, one is desire and the other is the world. Under the usage of both techniques, even ordinary cosmos gods would find it hard to resist against it. Even if they could, their strength would be greatly reduced. Dongbu Shuang admitted. Both techniques complemented each other. The world originally had the effect of attracting the soul of others and dragging the enemy into the world. For instance, the moment his illusory realm appeared, those with weaker souls would directly fall into the illusory realm. And if the other party had a similarly powerful desire technique, under the guidance of the desire, the enemy's resistance would rapidly weaken. Once they fell into the illusory realm, it would be much harder to struggle out. Even though there are 2 10th level techniques, it is only useful if you can use them. Dongbu Shuang said, it is hard to use a single technique, much less 2? Perhaps there might be an absolute genius who could walk down 2 Tao paths in the mirage and illusory realm lineage at the primal chaos realm and reach the pinnacle in both. But the possibility of these 2 paths being desire and the world is extremely, extremely low. As for cosmos gods in the mirage and illusory realm lineage, they have all become cosmos gods. They do not really care about secret treasures at the 10th level. After all, they are at the 10th level directly. Dongbu Shuang nonchalantly said, if you quote such an inflated price, there's no way for us to negotiate. The owner of the secret treasure that he consigned has said that the lowest price is 16 billion. The black-robed manager said. Then let him continue to stay. Dongbu Shuang stood. Rest assured. I'll ask the owner of the secret treasure again. The black-robed manager said. This secret treasure is not bad, but the price is too expensive. There are currently 8 of them being sold in the Realm Heart Great Land, and some are much cheaper. Let me take a look at the others. Dongbu Shuang stood up and left. He did not discuss too much with the black-robed manager because the manager did not have the authority to decide on the price. He was merely a messenger, and it was still up to the owner of the secret treasure to decide. Dongbu Shuang traveled across the Realm Heart Great Land. At the same time as he visited many Mirage and Illusory Realm secret treasures, he had also broadened his horizons. He had even gone to the Icy Snow Ancient Nation and saw many giants there. In terms of body cultivation, the Icy Snow Ancient Nation was unquestionably the strongest, because the Icy Snow Ancient Nation had 3 old ancestors who had reached the unparalleled realm. Those 3 old ancestors had all reached the pinnacle in body cultivation. Hence, to cultivate a powerful fleshy body, the religion in the Icy Snow Ancient Nation specialized in it. It's a pity that the Icy Snow Ancient Nation was slightly more secluded and repelled outsiders. There's still one last treasure left. 2 months later, Dongbu Shuang once again came to the Thistleflower Nation. This secret treasure in the Thistleflower capital had become the last mirage and illusory realm secret treasure he visited. Of the previous secret treasures, the cheapest was 8.5 billion cosmos crystals, and the most expensive was still 16 billion cosmos crystals. Currently, the one that moved Dongbu Shuang the most was the Heart of Desire, but it's a pity that it was still priced at 15 billion cosmos crystals. This price gave him a huge pressure. He had to convert all the 60,000 contribution points his teacher gave him into cosmos crystals before he could afford it. That way, his avatar could no longer cultivate the Southern Cloud sacred body. Sir Snow Eagle. In the Fan Clan shop in the Thistleflower Nation, under the request of Dongbu Shuang to keep it a secret, the manager led him to a side hall. This is the Devil Heart Bell. The manager chuckled as he placed that golden bell in front of Dongbu Shuang. Dongbu Shuang stared at the golden bell in front of him. This was the last treasure. After he finished looking at it, he had to decide which one to buy. He then extended his hand and grabbed this Devil Heart Bell. Chapter 1080. Calmly sitting there, he received the Devil Heart Bell. Dongbu Shuang immediately sent his consciousness into it. Ding ding, the sweet-sounding ringing of the bell suddenly resounded in his mind. Dongbu Shuang felt his mind jolting. His soul felt joyful. Even as a mirage and illusory realm expert who had cultivated to the pinnacle of the primal chaos realm, he could not help but feel relaxed. Following that, his consciousness went deeper into the bell. There was a vast world within the bell. The surface of the world was covered in white fog. Countless scenes were appearing and disappearing within the white fog, causing one to be immersed in it. Dongbu Shuang even saw his wife, Jing, his children and his deceased teacher, Guqi. As Dongbu Shuang was attracted by some of the white fog, the vast world in the depths of the Devil Heart Bell was also transforming. It transformed into Jing Dongbu Yu Dongbu Qingyao Chi by his teacher, Blood Blade Guqi and others. So powerful. Even though Dongbu Shuang desired to delve deeper, his realm was ultimately extraordinary. This Devil Heart Bell did not have an owner controlling it. Dongbu Shuang could still easily control himself. There are also two paths. One is bewilderment, and the other is world. Dongbu Shuang felt joy in his heart. The mirage and illusory realm was separated into a few paths. Out of the 8 secret treasures that he saw, half of them had the path of world. Because for an illusory realm to be sufficiently formidable, it would ultimately have to create a world that seemed real. If it was not real enough, it would be impossible for ultra-experts to be immersed in it. As for the other paths like bewilderment, desire, slaughter, illusion, etc., they represented different directions in the mirage and illusory realm. There were a total of 2 treasures that had the world and other paths. One was the Devil Heart Bell and the other was the Heart of Desire. Both the Devil Heart Bell and the Heart of Desire are suitable for me. Dongbu Shuang made his decision. Among the 8 artifacts, the Demon Heart Bell and the Heart of Desire were ranked first. Lord Snow Eagle, how was it? The manager asked with a smile when he saw Dongbu Shuang put down the Demon Heart Bell. The secret treasure is not bad, what's the price? Dongbu Shuang asked. 16 billion universe crystals. The manager said. Dongbu Shuang calmed down. In an instant, he had already decided that the treasure he would choose was the Demon Heart Bell. This was because the price of the Heart of Desire was still 15 billion cosmos crystals after much haggling. It was simply too high. That's too expensive. Dongbu Shuang shook his head. Although there are 2 paths, how many people can use both at the same time? In the end, there are still some. The manager said with a smile. If this is the price, then let the owner of the secret treasure wait for a suitable customer. Dongbu Shuang stood up. When the manager saw this, he smiled. Lord Snow Eagle, there's no need to be anxious. My starting price is 15 billion universe crystals. If Lord Snow Eagle still wants to haggle, it will depend on the owner of the secret treasure. The price is still too high. I will go to other places to look for more secret treasures. After all, there are a total of 8. Dongbu Shuang smiled. Although the treasures are needed, the price is very important. Rest assured, rest assured. I will definitely help Lord Snow Eagle to lower the price to the lowest. The manager said. Being able to sell one was a huge contribution to him. After all, 10 billion universe crystals. Even this shop in the capital of the Thistleflower country would only be able to sell it for such a high price after a long period of time. In the entire Thistleflower country, only the Thistleflower King, would be able to afford such a high price. Moreover, the manager wasn't sure how much Dongbo Shuiying liked this secret treasure. After viewing through the 8 secret treasures, Dongbo Shuiying continued strolling around the realm heart great land. He leisurely strolled around eating some delicacies and drinking some good wine. He was also haggling with the owners of the secret treasures. I've almost chosen the other secret treasure. If you don't lower the price, I'll buy another one. 3 days. I'll decide which one to buy in 3 days. No other choice. It seems I'm not fated with this secret treasure. Dongbo Shuiying transmitted a message to the owners of the secret treasures through the manager of the 8 Bureau. He was constantly pressuring them. 3 months after viewing through the secret treasures, Dongbo Shuiying finally decided. He even returned to the Southern Cloud Nation and exchanged another 10,000 contribution points for 1 billion cosmos crystals. Oh. Thistleflower Capital. A white-robed young man walked within this Thistleflower Capital. He felt relaxed. It seems I'm fated with this Thistleflower Nation. It seems I'm here again. That time I've clearly decided to view the Devil Heart Bell as the 3rd treasure, yet because I revealed my identity, I delayed it until the last treasure. Now I've still chosen it. Dongbo Shuiying chuckled. His figure suddenly turned illusory and disappeared. Following that, he arrived at the Fan Clan's shop located in the Thistleflower Capital. 13. 6 billion cosmos crystals. Are they all here? Dongbo Shuiying sat there looking at the manager in front of him. Yes, they are. The manager smiled passionately. He passed the Devil Heart Bell to Dongbo Shuiying. Now this secret treasure belongs to Sir Snow Eagle. Amen. Dongbo Shuiying suppressed his excitement. He received this Mirage and Illusory Realm secret treasure. For the sake of 13. 6 billion cosmos crystals. It could be said that he had suffered a huge loss. The Sky Sword Path had redeemed Thunder King Mo Chao and his 2 secret treasures for 8 billion cosmos crystals. He had exchanged his 40,000 contribution points for 4 billion cosmos crystals. Thunder King Mo Chao's storage treasures had also accumulated quite a bit. There were many precious materials, and Chang Su Wang and the other primal chaos experts he killed in the Ardent Fire City had also left behind some treasures for Dongbo Shuiying. Adding them all up, the total value was close to 1 billion cosmos crystals. This time he had pooled everything together for a total of 13.6 billion cosmos crystals. He had even exchanged those void lineage insects for them. It's a pity that the price was only 85% of the initial purchase price. Currently, Dongbo Shuiying barely had 300 million cosmos crystals with him. I've practically emptied out all my savings. Dongbo Shuiying sighed inwardly. He was quite satisfied with this. After all, those treasures and cosmos crystals could not be converted into his strength. This Mirage and Illusory Realm secret treasure was sufficient to greatly increase his strength. It could be said that he could sweep across all 10th level experts. Even against Cosmos Gods, a 10th level Mirage and Illusory Realm technique. Even if Cosmos Gods could resist against it, their strength would be greatly reduced. And when facing against the terrifying 5 phases sealing technique, it was entirely possible for Shuiying to suppress it. By fusing these 2 techniques together, Dongbo Shuiying was naturally much stronger. Furthermore, he had 20,000 contribution points left. It was just enough for his other avatar to cultivate the Southern Cloud Sacred Body, increasing its survivability. In Dongbo Shuiying's plan, it was fine for his other avatar to increase its survivability. The Southern Cloud Sacred Body was at the 10th level grand perfection beneath the Cosmos God realm. If he became a Cosmos God, there would still be an 11th and 12th level. This was also a body cultivation technique created by Southern Cloud's Sacred Master. It was considered an extremely powerful survival technique in Tier 2 and Tier 3 nations. But compared to the 6 great ancient nations, it was slightly lacking. Dongbo Shuiying felt delighted. He leisurely returned to the Southern Cloud Nation. But just as he returned, before he could enter his own Feishua city, he received a voice transmission from his teacher. Snow Eagle. The voice sounded by the ears of Dongbo Shuiying. Remember, if the Fan Clan comes looking for you for help, you must never agree to it. The first chapter. Chapter 1081. Dongbo Shuiying was taken aback. He looked down at Feishua City and asked, Master, why didn't you agree to it directly? Back then, when he wanted to see the spearhead of the Crimson Cloud Divine Spear, with a single word from Fan Tianchong, Dongbo Shuiying was allowed to see it. Although the spearhead itself was only worth a few 100 million, the favor that Dongbo Shuiying owed him was even lower. But no matter what, there was a friendship between the two of them. If the other party were to request for help, as long as the benefits were sufficient, there was no reason for Dongbu Shuiying to reject him. Other than that Snow Hook monarch of the Black Devil Four Nations, most of them are giving face to the Fan clan, right? Dongbu Shuiying asked. The Black Devil Great Lake relied on slaughter to deter the entire Black Devil Four Nations. As for the Fan clan, they relied on their terrifying strength to make the Black Devil Four Nations not dare to go against them. Even in the Snow Hook Nation, only the Snow Hook monarch was extremely arrogant. His subordinates would usually give the Fan clan some face. The Fan clan was the uncrowned king of the Black Devil Four Nations. Actually, it was not just the Black Devil Four Nations. Places like the Summerwind Ancient Nation and the other Tier 2 and Tier 3 nations were all under the Fan clan's sphere of influence. Primarily of the three great clans within the Summerwind Ancient Nation, the Song clan and the Summer clan were disdainful towards outsiders. Only the Fan clan was willing to recruit experts from all over the world. Even though the nearby Moonflower Ancient Nation and Towering Sky Ancient Nation were also trying to infiltrate some of the neighboring nations, their influence was far from comparable to the Fan clan. If I didn't guess wrongly, Fan Tianchong might come and find you in a few days. Southern Cloud King transmitted, but it's impossible for him to give you sufficient conditions. He can't. If he represents the Fan clan to ask for your help, just say, he needs the identity of an upper honored guest, and 10,000 contribution points after the matter is completed. High honored guest? 10,000 contribution points? Dongbu Shuiying held his breath. He was, after all, one of the highest core members in the Southern Cloud Nation. He understood quite a lot of information. The experts that the Fan clan sent to the neighboring nations would usually be directly absorbed into the core. Otherwise he would be a guest elder, or a guest elder. A hanger-on was the lowest class. After becoming a hanger-on of the Fan clan, one would have to obey the orders of the Fan clan completely. Guest chamberlains were much better, but the restrictions were also great. High-honored guest. Relatively speaking, they had much more freedom. The highest position an external expert had in the Fan clan was an honored guest elder. Guest elders were on the same level as the Fan clan's elders, just that they did not have any real authority. For instance, the teacher of Dongbu Shuiying, Southern Cloud King, was an honored guest elder of the Fan clan. As for the guest elders, they had even more freedom. They would usually not involve themselves in the matters of the Fan clan. Only for extremely important matters of the Fan clan and under the orders of Ancestor Fan, would the Fan clan have the qualifications to dispatch guest elders to participate in the operation. No one else had the right to order him around. Teacher, according to the information transmitted to me by the Southern Cloud Sacred Religion, the Fiery Zhao King and Maple Nest King are merely upper honored guests in the Fan clan, right? Dongbu Shuiying was startled. He transmitted a question. I am a primal chaos expert and I still want the status of an upper honored guest? Don't underestimate yourself. With your strength, it is certain that you will become a cosmos god. The moment you become a cosmos god and improve the 5 phases sealing technique by another level, by then, your strength wouldn't be any weaker than the two of them. Southern Cloud King transmitted. Amongst the kings of the Black Devil Four Nations, Southern Cloud King and Snow Hook King were both famous absolute heroes that shook the entire realm Heart Great Land. They could survive even under the pursuit of unparalleled existences. The Fiery Zhao King and Maple Nest King were comparatively weaker, though they far surpassed ordinary cosmos gods. Because the Fiery Zhao Nation was too close to the Black Devil Great Lake, it had become the backyard of the Black Devil Great Lake and was frequently ravaged. As for the Maple Nest Nation, they had decided to rely on the Summerwind Ancient Nation in the dark. The reason why these two Tier 2 nations were like this was because the king was not strong enough. I believe I should be able to request for the status of an upper honored guest after becoming a cosmos god. But now, I haven't broken through yet and I still have 10,000 contribution points? Dongbu Shuiying remained dumbstruck. 10,000 contribution points? In the Fan clan honored guest system, 10,000 contribution points could be exchanged for 10 billion cosmos crystals. More importantly, experts disdained exchanging for cosmos crystals. For the sake of cosmos crystals, they would not rely on the Fan clan. Those honored guests could rely on these contribution points to exchange for some absolute art secret importation from the Fan clan honored guest system. The Fan clan would then take out some absolute art scriptures to entice these honored guests. Even though the core of the Fan clan was not to be imparted to others, just taking out a portion of it was sufficient to make many experts outside the nation cry out in excitement. How deep was the foundation of the Fan clan? Just taking out a portion of it would far surpass the Southern Cloud Nation. It might not be possible during normal times, but now they will definitely agree to it. Southern Cloud King transmitted, this involves the internal conflict between the three great clans in the Summer Wind Ancient Nation. Wait until they invite you and agree to your conditions. You will know everything then. I understand. Dongbu Shuang answered. You just have to state your conditions. By then just inform me and I'll handle this matter. Southern Cloud King said, an opportunity to earn 10,000 contribution points is something that you might not find even after becoming a cosmos god. Dongbu Shuang nodded in agreement. How many treasures could a cosmos god accumulate? How high could the reward of participating in a single operation be? Most cosmos gods from the Fan clan would only be rewarded with a few hundred contribution points. Experts at the level of Fiery Zhao King and Maple Nest King would usually be rewarded with a few thousand contribution points. Furthermore, such opportunities did not come often. Most matters could be settled internally by the Fan clan. Usually it would be slightly dangerous for these honored guests to act, and the Fan clan did not have enough experts. This time, Southern Cloud King asked Dongbu Shuang for the identity of an upper honored guest and 10,000 contribution points. Naturally, Dongbu Shuang was startled. Dongbu Shuang descended from the sky. He stepped on the void and took a few steps before arriving at his residence within the Feishua city. His residence was a king residence, and his current title was King of Feishua. Grandpa King. Grandpa King. Many servants and guards were extremely respectful when they saw Dongbu Shuang. Their eyes were filled with worship. After all, Dongbu Shuang was a legendary existence in the entire history of the Southern Cloud Nation. My son. Ying Shanlai, who came over excitedly. Rong Xinglan was by the side. Rong Xinglan was also smiling at Dongbu Shuang. Snow Eagle, it has been a long time since you returned. Your father and I have heard of your matter in the Fiery Zhao Nation. That's right. What technique did you use? I've heard that you captured that Thunder King from the Sky Sword Nation with a single move? Ying Shanlai, who asked excitedly. Dongbu Shuang nodded. Although it was said to be one move, the 5 phases sealing technique was actually a perfect combination of 5 10th level techniques of the Void lineage. It was even more perfect than those battle formations. In terms of profoundness, it even had the effect of isolating space. Even the destructive world teleportation technique could not escape from it. Furthermore, when the technique was completely sealed, it was akin to the suppression of an independent space. That suppression could suppress ordinary 10th level experts to death. Those who did not die would be imprisoned within the 5 phase beads. Hence, the moment this technique was completed, Dongbu Shuang's name would naturally spread across the Realm Heart Great Land. This was also the reason why Southern Cloud King ascertained that the Fan clan would invite Dongbu Shuang over. Sister, have a taste. This is the wine I brought from the primogenitor ancient nation. Dongbu Shuang first accompanied his family to eat and drink. They also chatted for half a day since their understanding of the external world was too little. Following that, Dongbu Shuang announced that he would be entering closed-door cultivation. When I'm in closed-door cultivation, do not disturb me unless there is something important. If the Fan clan were to come, send a transmission to me too. Dongbu Shuang ordered. Yes, master. The magic dragon obediently acknowledged. Its enormous body coiled outside the towering Void God Pagoda. Dongbu Shuang then entered the Void God Pagoda and began researching on the Devil Heart Bell. Time passed. Even though Southern Cloud King mentioned that it was very fast, in reality, it had been 30,000 years since Dongbu Shuang entered closed-door cultivation when Fan Tianchong came to the Feishua city. Within the Void God Pagoda, on a floating rock, a white-robed young man sat cross-legged. A golden bell floated before him. Ding 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 dang, the sound was pleasant to the ears. It reverberated within the God Pagoda, bringing with it a horrifying effect of bewilderment. Master Fan Tianchong is here. He wants to meet you. He is finally here. Dongbu Shuang opened his eyes and stood. The golden bell floating in front of him immediately flew to his waist. It was tied around his waist before disappearing. Regardless of whether it was the Devil Heart Bell or the 5 phase beads, Fan Tianchong could naturally store them in his body when he did not use them. Hong Long Long, the door of the God Pagoda opened. Dongbu Shuang walked out of the pagoda. Second update. Chapter 1082. Within Feishua City, within a garden within the king residence, delicacies and wine were being served. Dongbu Shuang and Fan Tianchong were chatting happily. I came here because I have something good to tell younger brother. Fan Tianchong chuckled. At the same time, he glanced at the group of beautiful female attendants. All of you can withdraw. Dongbo Shuiying immediately ordered. Yes, Grandpa King. The group of beautiful female attendants obediently acknowledged. They left in a single file, leaving behind only Dongbo Shuiying and Fan Tianchong. Fan Tianchong's tall and plump body straightened. He whispered, Younger brother Snow Eagle, my Fan clan has a matter that requires younger brother to participate in. Rest assured you are just one of the members. Furthermore, this mission does not pose any danger to your life. We can give you 1 billion cosmos crystals for this mission. And not only is there no danger to your life, it won't take too long either. It won't exceed 1,000 years. To younger brother, it shouldn't be a problem, right? Dongbo Shuiying heard that. If not for his teacher's reminder. A mission that did not pose any danger to his life and would not require much time. Furthermore, it was a reward of 1 billion cosmos crystals. In addition to the Fan clan asking him to help, he could not reject Fan Tianchong given his friendship with him. Can you tell me in detail? What exactly is it about? Dongbo Shuiying asked. It's hard for me to say if you don't participate in it. Fan Tianchong laughed. To younger brother, this mission is also a form of training. Actually, I wish to participate too, but it's a pity that the clan doesn't think highly of me. Younger brother, you have grasped the 5 phases sealing technique, which is why my clan chose you and invited you to participate. Once you agree, you will know the details once you arrive at the Summer Wind Ancient Nation. Rest assured, we won't let you deal against the Southern Cloud Nation. We won't make things difficult for you. His words were beautiful. It's a pity that Dongbo Shuiying had to reject him. I can agree, but I have a condition. Dongbo Shuiying said. Feel free to speak. Fan Tianchong chuckled. This matter was of great importance, and the bargaining chips the clan gave him were also quite large. I need to become an upper honored guest of the Fan clan. Furthermore, I will need 10,000 contribution points after I succeed. Dongbo Shuiying said. Fan Tianchong was stunned, his eyes widened as he stared at Dongbo Shuiying. What an exorbitant demand. It scared Fan Tianchong so much that he was a little dazed. Brother Snow Eagle, do you know what an upper honorary delegate is? Do you know what 10,000 merits means? Fan Tianchong could not help but say, the Fiery Zhao King and Maple Nest King are merely upper honored guests of my Fan clan. For example, your senior apprentice brother, Imperial Monarch Greedy Peng, is merely a guest retainer. Did you say, Supreme Foreign Advisor? Am I right? In the Fan clan's honored guest system, different levels meant different benefits. Not everyone was qualified to be an upper guest minister. Yes. Dongbo Shuiying nodded. I know. Impossible. Absolutely impossible. Fan Tianchong shook his head. I can tell you with certainty that it is impossible for my clan to agree to such an outrageous condition. I am also managing the affairs of the Southern Cloud Nation, and there will be many interactions in the future. I won't lie to you either. I can promise you the identity of an honored guest and 2,000 contribution points. That is already the limit. Upper honored guest, 10,000 contribution points. Dongbo Shuiying said. AI, you are truly... Fan Tianchong felt helpless. Brother Tianchong, I've already stated my conditions. You can contact the clan and they might agree to it? Dongbo Shuiying chuckled. Good. Fan Tianchong shook his head when he saw that. Then I'll report upwards. This request of yours is too excessive. Dongbo Shuiying instead contacted his teacher, Southern Cloud King. His teacher had said so. The moment he discussed this matter with Fan Tianchong, he would inform his teacher. His teacher would also help to facilitate this matter. Teacher, I've already spoken to Fan Tianchong. He said it is impossible for the clan to agree to it. Dongbo Shuiying transmitted over. All right. Since you have stated your conditions, leave the rest to me. All right, have you grasped hold of your Mirage and Illusory Realm secret treasure? Are you able to unleash a 10th level power? Southern Cloud King asked. I've grasped it. Dongbo Shuiying transmitted back. He originally created the Illusory Realm world. Hence, of the 2 great techniques of the Demon Heart Bell, he naturally pushed the world technique to the 10th level. As for the Bewilderment lineage, although he was a peerless genius in the Mirage and Illusory Realm and had some understanding of it in the past, after studying it for some time and comprehending it to the 8th level, he could only push it to the 9th level through the Demon Heart Bell. It is good that you have grasped it. Otherwise, I'll have to activate the temporal treasure so that you can grasp it as soon as possible. Southern Cloud King felt delighted. You can rest assured. Since you have grasped a 10th level Mirage and Illusory Realm technique, the Fan clan will definitely agree to it. Fan Tianchong was reporting upwards. He was reporting to his teacher, Skyrending Great Paragon. Skyrending Great Paragon had an extremely high status in the Fan clan. He was also one of the few Great Paragons who were second only to Ancestor Fan. In the past, he had transformed 99 of his subordinates into 100 Battle Devil gods. Not just in terms of his personal strength, refining magic servants, or nurturing his subordinates, he excelled in all aspects. For instance, he could raise an ordinary primal chaos devil god to the 10th level. Other powerful cosmos gods could not do it, but he could. The 100 Battle Devil god was an example. Hence, his influence and power within the Fan clan was huge. Skyrending Great Paragon. Aha, brother Southern Cloud. Two consciousnesses clashed across an endless distance. Even under the suppression of unparalleled experts, the two of them were still absolute overlords in the realm Heart Great Land. Southern Cloud King was an ultra-powerful expert in the Void lineage. His strength was one aspect, and the other aspect was his many avatars. His survivability was heaven-defying. Some of his avatars even executed the Great Destruction Realm teleportation technique to other origin worlds. Hence, it was impossible to kill him. This was also the reason why he could practically control all the benefits from the Southern Cloud sacred religion, while Skysword King was being squeezed dry by the Summer Wind Ancient Nation and Myriad Realms Ancient Nation. Your Fan clan is going to compete with the Summer clan and Song clan again? Southern Cloud King transmitted, according to what I know, you should have lost 5 times already, right? If you lose again, it will be a 6th time. I believe your Fan clan has never lost so many times in the history of the Fan clan, right? What? Do you think your disciple can ask for so many benefits just because of this? Skyrending Great Paragon transmitted his voice. I am clear of your thoughts. You want to accumulate as many contribution points as possible so that your disciple can exchange for powerful secret importation techniques and powerful treasures in my Fan clan. Am I right? Right. Southern Cloud King chuckled. I believe you will agree to it. You're wrong. There are many 10th level experts in my Fan clan. Quite a few of them are extremely powerful. For instance, I can help those who specialized in other Dao paths to form the combat magic body, allowing them to become stronger. Furthermore, there are several relatively talented cultivators in the external nations. After grooming them, they should not be too far off. Skyrending Great Paragon said. I forgot to tell you. Snow Eagle has acquired a Mirage and Illusory Realm secret treasure. Currently, he is able to unleash a 10th level Illusory Realm technique. Southern Cloud King transmitted. Skyrending Great Paragon was startled. His consciousness turned silent for a moment. Mirage and Illusory Realm technique? 10th level technique? That was a technique that targeted the soul. No matter how strong the secret treasure was, Primal Chaos experts were ultimately at the Primal Chaos realm. Without the secret treasure, they could only reach the 9th level strength. Facing a 10th level Illusory Realm secret treasure that directly targeted the soul, it was practically sweeping across everything. Only those with extraordinary attainments in the soul could resist against it. But if it was purely a Mirage and Illusory Realm 10th level technique, one could only say that Dongbui Shuang was nearly unparalleled in the Primal Chaos realm. Then, coupled with the tyrannical 5 phases sealing technique, in direct combat, he would be truly unparalleled. Perhaps there might be some extremely talented Primal Chaos experts who could compete with the current Dongbui Shuang in history, but those absolute geniuses had long become cosmos gods. Even Dongbui Shuang would not be too far away from becoming a cosmos god. And currently, Skyrending Great Paragon felt that it was hard for Primal Chaos experts who had yet to become cosmos gods to find an opponent. He is someone I can absolutely win against. Skyrending Great Paragon was genuinely moved. What a gooding Shan Snow Eagle. It is fine that he grasped the near unparalleled 5 phases sealing technique at the Primal Chaos realm, and he has grasped a similarly near unparalleled Mirage and Illusory Realm 10th level technique. With such talent and comprehension skills, he will definitely become a cosmos god in the future. The moment he did so, he would accumulate a foundation, and his strength would not be any weaker than the fiery Zhao King and the others. Giving him the status of an upper honored guest isn't a big deal. Since he can absolutely win, paying 10,000 contribution points isn't a big deal. 10,000 contribution points did not mean much to the Fan clan. But with a huge empire, they could not afford to waste it. They had to go through many evaluations before deciding if it was worth it. Clearly it was not worth it for Snow Eagle, who merely grasped the 5 phases sealing technique. But now it was worth it. Brother Southern Cloud, so you are still hiding such a secret. Alright, I'll agree to this matter. Skyrending Great Paragon said. Currently, the Fan clan was temporarily managed by Skyrending Great Paragon. After all, being powerful did not mean that he was good at managing the clan. Amongst Great Paragons, Skyrending Great Paragon was indeed good at leading his subordinates and managing the clan. Feishua City, King Residence, within the garden. Fan Tianchong and Dongbo Shuang were currently eating and chatting. Younger brother Snow Eagle, we are brothers, so I'll advise you to be more or less satisfied. Given the temper of the Fan clan, if your request is too high, they might even remove the conditions they gave me previously and directly invite other experts instead. There are quite a few suitable experts in this realm heart great land. Fan Tianchong persuaded. Suddenly his expression froze. He received a transmission from his teacher. You can promise him. Bring him to the capital. Fan Tianchong stared blankly at Dongbo Shuang in front of him. What's the matter? Dongbo Shuang asked. He actually agreed? Fan Tianchong looked at Dongbo Shuang with incomparable shock. Why would he agree? Dongbo Shuang chuckled. No wonder you dared to raise this request. There should be Southern Cloud King plotting behind the scenes, right? Fan Tianchong stood up. I don't care what transaction Southern Cloud King has with my teacher and the others have. Since they agreed, then I'll bring you to my summer wind capital. If there is nothing else, shall we set off now? All right. Dongbo Shuang nodded. Then let's set off. The 3rd chapter ended. The 4th chapter was still being written. Everyone could watch it tomorrow morning. Star. Chapter 1083. Summer Wind Capital. The city gates were towering. A luxurious carriage directly flew through the city gates. The fan symbol on the carriage clearly represented the identity of the owner. Nobody dared to impersonate the Fan clan in the Summer Wind capital. Hence, the guards of the city gates did not dare to obstruct them. They allowed this luxurious carriage to fly in majestically. There were female attendants and a group of protectors surrounding the carriage. Dongbo Shuang and Fan Tianchong were seated there. Even though there are few cities in the realm heart great land that could compare with my Summer Wind capital, in terms of the size of a city, the Summer Wind capital is the biggest in the realm heart great land. Fan Tianchong was clearly proud of the Summer Wind ancient nation. He explained. Dongbo Shuang was also listening attentively. In terms of the size of a city, the Summer Wind capital was indeed the biggest. Because the 5 ancestors from the Myriad Realms ancient nation who were slightly stronger, according to the intelligence Dongbo Shuang currently knew, had reincarnated into the realm heart great land. They were not originally life forms from the realm heart great land. Because they came from different origin worlds, even though they formed the Myriad Realms ancient nation together, their relationship was not close. They even had 5 ancestral cities. Look, that Fenghua Street is a place of pleasure. Fan Tianchong pointed to a place in the distance. That place was filled with novelty and vibrant architecture. It was dazzling, and looking at it from afar one would feel a faint temptation. The carriage flew above the Summer Wind capital. It seemed slow, but in reality after introducing a place, it would soon teleport forward. There were many introductions. Dongbo Shuang was in awe. This was indeed the Summer Wind capital. There were all sorts of wonders. There were even a huge market square where slaves were bought and sold here. The laws of my Summer Wind ancient nation are strict. Most of the time, killing is absolutely forbidden. Even aristocrats from other nations have to obey the rules. Even cosmos gods don't dare to be arrogant. Of course, it's different with our identities. You are an upper honored guest of my Fan clan. At least in the Summer Wind ancient nation, the identity of an upper honored guest of the Fan clan isn't ordinary. Killing a few of them below the primal chaos realm is a small matter. But it's best for you to restrain yourself. It's best not to casually kill those with a huge background. Otherwise there will be some trouble. Fan Tianchong said. Amen? Dongbo Shuang nodded. He was someone who came from another nation. It was better for him to be low profile in Summer Wind capital. Naturally, given his personality, he did not like to bully others within the Southern Cloud Nation. Only when someone provoked him or met some devils would he not be able to resist acting. With the authority of the Fan clan, they would be able to help him settle most matters. Although it is forbidden to kill, it is not a crime to kill purchased slaves. Fan Tianchong said, there are some who wish to dissect their fleshly bodies, or even modify their bodies. Many of them purchase slaves in large batches. These slaves are usually captured fiends, criminals, or cultivators from other countries who are captured in wars. On a street within Summer Wind capital, two cultivators were currently chatting side by side. One of them was Ba Tuachin, whom Dongbu Shuiying saved in the Thistleflower Nation. Eldest disciple brother loves the good wine from the Six Wind clan. As long as you can make eldest disciple brother happy, eldest disciple brother will naturally guide you. The thin and small teenager chuckled by the side. Ba Tuachin nodded, Amen. Currently he had joined a religion within the Summer Wind capital. It was a very small religion within the Summer Wind capital, but for him to establish a religion in the capital, the sect master was a 10th level expert. According to rumors, he was a disciple from the Song clan. The sect master had a group of disciples too. Of the personal disciples, only the eldest disciple brother had reached the 9th level. Most disciples would be taught by the eldest disciple brother. I am currently an outer disciple. As long as I coax eldest disciple brother, I'll cultivate properly. When I become stronger and accumulate more treasures, I'll be able to join a more powerful religion. Ba Tuachin planned inwardly, there will be a day when I return to the Thistleflower Nation and take revenge for my Ba Tua clan. As for now, it was better for him to cultivate diligently and low profile. In the Summer Wind capital, his strength was not worth mentioning at all. Men? Ba Tuachin suddenly looked up with astonishment. He saw a luxurious carriage being pulled by a total of 8 golden-clawed inferno beasts. The carriage was grand and tyrannical. The flames it emitted covered an area spanning more than 500 kilometers, leaving behind afterimages in midair. And there were 2 people seated on the carriage. One was a tall and plump male. His aura was grand and seemed more tyrannical than his enemy, old ancestor Yang. The other was a white-robed young man. Benefactor. Ba Tuachin looked at him in a daze. He recognized that white-robed young man as the benefactor who saved him, Yingshan Snow Eagle. The thin and small teenager by the side also looked up. The moment he saw that carriage, especially when he saw the word fan, he was so frightened that he lowered his head. He pulled Ba Tuachin and roared, Are you seeking death? That is a carriage only core disciples of the Fan clan can ride on. If you stare at it and accidentally anger it, killing you will be as easy as pinching a bug. Ba Tuachin lowered his head too. He also knew that it was very rude to stare directly at a super expert. If they met some devils with a strong devilish and murderous nature, they would most likely kill the other party. Killing the weak could be done with a thought. That is Fan Tianchong, a genius disciple of the Fan clan. He is highly regarded by the Fan clan. The thin and small teenager had stayed in the Summer Wind capital for a very long time. Naturally he could recognize him. He lowered his head and did not dare to look at him. He transmitted over, his talent is extremely high. According to rumors, he has been sent to the Southern Cloud Nation to preside over a region. He is even more valued than my sect master in the Tsong clan. That white-robed young man by the side is so passionate even to Fan Tianchong. His strength and status are definitely not any weaker than Fan Tianchong. Such an expert from the Fan clan can walk unhindered in the Summer Wind capital. Even cosmos gods from other nations do not dare to offend the 3 great clans in the Summer Wind ancient nation. Ba Tuachin nodded. Hurry up and leave. This place is too far away from us. The thin and small teenager urged. Summer Wind capital. There was a magic mountain that occupied a huge area. The mountain range was continuous, and its area was comparable to the entire Southern Cloud capital. But in the Summer Wind capital, it merely occupied a small corner. This was where the Fan clan was located in the capital. Who? The Fan clan magic mountain emitted an icy aura. Dongbu Shuiying and Fan Tianchong had long gotten off the carriage. The 2 of them flew side by side. Behind Dongbu Shuiying was a single servant, the magic dragon. Experts are as common as clouds. Dongbu Shuiying could vaguely sense that quite a few locations within the mountain range were emitting a terrifying aura. Some were rolling with terrifying flames and some were rolling with deep ponds. I'll bring you to your residence first. Don't wander around randomly for the time being. Some places are forbidden grounds. As an upper honored guest, you will soon have some items sent over. By then you will know the rules of the Fan clan Magic Mountain. Fan Tianchong said, Your residence this time is temporarily with the other 4. They are also participating in this operation. The moment he finished speaking, Fan Tianchong brought Dongbu Shuiying down on a mountain. His magic dragon also descended and obediently followed behind. There were several elegant houses on the mountain. Tianchong, is this the one called Ying Shan Snow Eagle? 3 males stood not too far away. Their auras were all different. One was sharp like a blade, one was reserved and heavy, and one was strange and unfathomable. Of which, that sharp snow-white armored male emitted a sharp battle intent in his eyes. He looked at Dongbo Shuiying, and vaguely felt a surging sea of blood enveloping over to Dongbo Shuiying. Being a great expert in the mirage and illusory realm, why would Dongbo Shuiying care about this little impact? But Dongbo Shuiying already knew the identity of this provocateur. Fan Clan's Fan Tianyun was the blood brother of Fan Tianchong, though his talent was much higher. He had once entered the Black Devil Great Lake and fought against 2 cosmos gods before leaving. Humph, out of the 5 chosen by my Fan Clan this time, 2 of them are outsiders. You've even pushed me out. That snow-white armored male had an aquiline nose. His lips curled upwards as he sneered, it seems they are ordinary. Big brother, they are chosen by teacher. Fan Tianchong said with a bitter smile. Brat, you and that fellow from the Icy Plains tribe want to represent my Fan Clan? Humph, it isn't that easy. The snow-white armored male Fan Tianyun sneered. He was unconvinced. If he defeated Ying Shan Snow Eagle or another outsider, as long as he defeated one of them, he would dare to create a ruckus within the clan and request to participate in the battle. Otherwise he would not dare to do so. Rest assured, I won't break the rules. The snow-white armored male Fan Tianyun chuckled. Let us go. Just you, and you want to represent my Fan Clan? The other 2 core disciples of the Fan Clan by the side of Fan Tianyun sneered too. They had received the best nurturing and were core disciples of the Fan Clan. They disdained outsiders. Even though they knew about the 5 phases sealing technique, and did not dare to become enemies, they were still confident of Fan Tianyun. The 5 phases sealing technique was famous. But in history, only that person from the towering sky ancient nation succeeded in cultivating it. How strong was he? Only after fighting would they know. My big brother is ranked in the top 5 core disciples of the Fan Clan. But this time, out of the 5 chosen by my Fan Clan, 2 of them are outsiders. My big brother has been pushed aside. Towards you and the other outsider, there should be quite a few who are unconvinced within the Fan Clan. Fan Tianchong transmitted. Dongbo Shuiying did not say anything. Unconvinced? He believed they would be convinced soon. In the world of cultivators, everything depended on strength. Chapter 1084. Old Brother Snow Eagle, you should stay here temporarily and don't run around recklessly. There are many forbidden grounds in this Fan Clan Magic Mountain. Even the terrifying experts from the Summer Clan and Song Clan have come to my Fan Clan Devil Mountain to cultivate. If you were to barge into the forbidden ground, you might be killed by the arrays of the forbidden ground. Fan Tianchong reminded, in a while the identity token of an upper honored guest will be sent over. By then you will know which places in the Fan Clan Magic Mountain you can and cannot go to. Brother Tianchong, don't worry. I won't wander off. Dongbo Shuiying nodded his head. Fan Tianchong quickly left. Dongbo Shuiying sat in the courtyard looking at the mountains far away. Despite the distance, he could still sense the terrifying aura emanating from the mountains. The experts nurtured by the 3 great clans in the Summer Wind Ancient Nation are entirely different. Dongbo Shuiying naturally understood the intelligence. Xia clan. They were also the clan that governed the Summer Wind Ancient Nation. Their foundation was deep and unfathomable, and they were vaguely the number 1 clan in the entire realm Heart Great Land. The name of this ancient nation was Summer Wind. It was evident that the number of experts they nurtured was also the highest. In terms of experts, they had slightly more than the Tsang clan and the Fan clan. In the Tsang clan, the experts that the Tsang clan nurtured could be considered free range. Therefore the experts of the Tsang clan were all free and unfettered. Some of them were also rude and unreasonable and very egotistical. As for the Fan clan, their method of nurturing experts was more like the Black Devil Great Lake. Strictly speaking, the Black Devil Great Lake's method of selecting experts was learned from the Fan clan. The competition within the Fan clan was extremely intense. The strong would rise while the weak would fall. The internal rules were extremely strict, and they belonged to the most united clan amongst the 3 great clans in the Summer Wind Ancient Nation. At the same time, they accepted all experts from outside the nation. The Tsang clan and the Fan clan were comparable in strength, but if they were to fight, the Tsang clan would usually be at a disadvantage. Because the Fan clan was more united, the rules were naturally stricter. The rules of the Fan clan are untouchable. Dongbo Shuiying sat there drinking wine by himself. There were some tiny snowflakes drifting down from the sky. Bang bang bang. There was a heavy knock on the door. Open the door. Dongbo Shuiying ordered. Yes. The servant Mo Long immediately went over and opened the door to the house. Outside the door was a soldier in black armor. His eyes were cold and the aura he emitted was at the chaotic realm. The black-armored soldier looked at Dongbo Shuiying and said, "Upper honored guest Fei Xue, I have been ordered to deliver many items. Please keep them well." After saying that, he tossed a golden bracelet over. Dongbo Shuiying reached out to catch it, but before he could say anything the other party had already turned around and left, disappearing into a streak of light. As a chaotic realm, I have become an upper adjunct. This soldier seems to be unhappy. Dongbo Shuiying shook his head and smiled. Close the door. Yes, master. The demon dragon closed the door. Only then did Dongbo Shuiying take out all the items from the golden bracelet and inspect them one by one. Identity talisman, scrolls, and other items. Dongbo Shuiying had also obtained a detailed map of the entire Fan Clan Magic Mountain. The map also indicated the different grades of the regions. As an upper honored guest, Dongbo Shuiying could visit more than half the regions of the Fan Clan Magic Mountain. Voila! Opening the greenwood scroll in his hand, lines of words appeared on it. Unphased mystical technique, 300,000 contribution points can be exchanged. Honored guest elder, heaven suppressing ruler, peak graded secret treasure. 200,000 contribution points can be exchanged. Upper honored guest, domain array plate, peak graded secret treasure. 200,000 contribution points can be exchanged. Upper honored guest. Chaotic origin Dao scroll, 100,000 contribution points can be exchanged. Upper honored guest. Extreme Een Saber 3 scrolls, 100,000 contribution points can be exchanged. Upper honored guest. Unphased Dharma body. Ancestor Fan can transform his body into a unphased Dharma body. Requires 100,000 contribution points. Upper honored guest. Primogenitor blood. A drop of origin blood of extreme night primogenitor. Requires 100,000 contribution points. Upper honored guest. This scroll recorded many treasures that could be exchanged. The most expensive was 300,000 contribution points, and the cheapest was just 1,000 contribution points. One had to know that Extreme Night Primogenitor would at most bestow a drop of blood essence to his subordinates, and they could recover it after cultivating. And the origin blood was his foundation. To recover it he had to devour large amounts of treasures. It was impossible for him to sell it. Every single treasure was recorded in detail. For instance, the heaven-suppressing ruler was a time-space lineage treasure. One had to reach the second level of Cosmos God in the time-space aspect before one could grasp it. Another instance was the chaotic origin Dao scroll. One had to reach the pinnacle of voidification before one could grasp it. These cultivation techniques that could be exchanged with 100,000 contribution points were even more precious than the 5 phases sealing technique. They could be used directly to the peak realm. Like how Ancestor Fan helped to alter his body, the unphased Dharma body was at the Cosmos God level. The moment it succeeded, a cultivator would directly become a Cosmos God. How heaven-defying was that? But 100,000 contribution points. Just by exchanging them for Cosmos crystals, one could exchange for 100 billion. Furthermore, these contribution points had to be completed by the Fan Clan through life and death missions. Even experts at the level of Fiery Zhao King and Maple Nest King could only obtain a few thousand contribution points per mission. Furthermore, if the Fan Clan did not issue any missions, they could not accept any. It was too difficult to gather 100,000 contribution points. It was practically impossible to gather 200,000 contribution points. Even Southern Cloud King had yet to gather 200,000 contribution points to date. Top-graded secret treasures. Dongbo Shuiying stared at those top-graded secret treasures. Top-graded secret treasures were sufficient to drive any Cosmos God crazy. Like that time when Southern Cloud King was being pursued, he had to flee in panic. Eventually he was fortunate enough to enter an ancient historical remnant and obtain a top-graded secret treasure, the Twin Realm Blade. Only after completely grasping the top-graded secret treasure, the Twin Realm Blade, did he obtain his current status. Like Dongbo Shuiying, he was merely at the 9th level strength without any secret treasures. But if he had a secret treasure he could directly climb to the 10th level strength. The value of top-graded secret treasures was incredibly high. The Fan Clan had listed a total of 6 top-graded secret treasures on the scroll. All of them were of different types, and they were sufficient to make many experts willing to go through fire and water for them. Primogenitor origin blood? Dongbua Shuiying was also carefully reading through the records of the primogenitor origin blood. During the Second War of the Ancient Nations, Extreme Night Primogenitor and Eternal Night Primogenitor once worked together to fight against the three old ancestors of the Summer Wind Ancient Nation, Emperor Summer, Emperor Tsang, and Ancestor Fan. That battle left both Extreme Night Primogenitor and Eternal Night Primogenitor heavily injured. They even snatched away part of the origin blood of Extreme Night Primogenitor. And now they took out a drop of origin blood and used 100,000 contribution points to entice the honored guests. The origin blood of Extreme Night Primogenitor was simply a legend. What exactly is the mission this time? What could make the Fan clan willing to give me 10,000 contribution points? Dongbua Shuiying was inwardly startled. Fiery Zhao King and the others could only earn a few thousand contribution points even if they risked their lives. This time, I'm not in any danger, so how did teacher convince the Fan clan to give me 10,000 contribution points? At this moment he still did not know how unique this mission was. That was a secret within the three great clans of the Summer Wind Ancient Nation. It was because he had the 5 phases sealing technique and 10th level Mirage and Illusory Realm technique that the Fan clan agreed to. Dongbua Shuiying stayed in this courtyard for 3 days. During these 3 days, even though he did not go out, he had seen the other 4 experts participating in the mission. Someone from the Icy Plains tribe? Dongbua Shuiying noticed another mysterious expert who came from outside the nation like him. That was a thin and small male wearing a thick robe. When Dongbua Shuiying turned to him, this expert from the Icy Plains tribe also turned to Dongbua Shuiying. Their gazes clashed and the other party nodded slightly. The edge of his lips curled upwards. It's him, King Sauron of the Icy Plains tribe. Dongbua Shuiying recognized the other party. King Sauron seemed reserved, yet in reality he was incredibly tyrannical. He had once killed one of the leaders of the Icy Plains tribe, and that leader was a cosmos god. Saying it was a tribe, in reality, it was equivalent to a third-tier nation. Because the leader was killed, that tribe was swallowed up by the surrounding tribes. 3 days later in the courtyard. Hong. A terrifying aura descended, attracting the attention of the cultivators in the 5 courtyards. That was a muscular male. The surface of his body was covered in a layer of blood flames. His aura was so strong that it made Dongbua Shuiying and the others feel the threat of death. Everyone come out. This muscular male said. His voice was grand. Jia, many doors opened. Within the 5 courtyards, the 5 chosen cultivators came out. Dongbua Shuiying was one of them. Chapter 1085. This muscular male covered in blood flames was someone Dongbua Shuiying could naturally recognize with a glance. He was a cosmos god from the Fan clan, Monarch Andromeda. He was also the left and right arm of Skyrending Great Paragon. He was incredibly strong and could fight against Fiery Zhao King and Maple Nest King. Chi, even though he was standing there, he was standing in midair. The blood flames beneath his feet had already turned the surrounding rocky ground into nothingness. His cold eyes swept across the 5 people in front of him. Even the 3 primal chaos experts from the Fan clan were extremely obedient at this moment. Upper honored guest Feishue, honored guest Saron. Monarch Andromeda said, even though the 2 of you have been chosen, there are many disciples within my Fan clan who are unconvinced. Hence, I have to give the 2 of you a simple test. If you pass, you will naturally continue participating in the mission. Otherwise, you will lose the chance to participate in the mission. The 2 of you don't have any objections, right? No. Dongbua Shuiying answered. Saron was startled. He could not help but turn to Dongbua Shuiying before answering, no. At this moment. Including King Saron, the other 3 primal chaos absolute experts from the Fan clan could not help but look at Dongbua Shuiying. Their eyes were filled with shock and disbelief. They were even slightly unconvinced. Upper honored guest Feishue? He became an upper honored guest? He is at the primal chaos realm, yet he could become an upper honored guest? Before this, there were a few who knew that Dongbua Shuiying had become an upper honored guest, though Fan Tianchong and the others did not dare to spread it. After all, this mission was extremely important, and the rules of the Fan clan were strict. This was the first time these 3 core disciples from the Fan clan heard that this snow eagle was actually an upper honored guest. I am an honored guest and he is an upper honored guest? Even someone as proud as King Saron could not help but feel unconvinced. After all, he had swept across many tribes in the icy plains, and was absolutely unparalleled at the primal chaos realm. He had defeated quite a few cosmos gods and one had died in his hands. Since you don't have any objections, follow me. Monarch Andromeda indifferently said. Oh. A vast flame immediately enveloped Dongbu Shuiying and the other four. Monarch Andromeda brought them across the sky and with a single teleportation, they arrived at a forbidden ground of the Fan Clan Magic Mountain. Dongbu Shuiying felt the scene in front of his eyes turning illusory before he found himself at another location in the Fan Clan Magic Mountain. In front of him was a huge lake. Surrounding the lake was a large blood-colored grassland. At this moment, there were two primal chaos experts standing on the blood-colored grassland. One was the snow-white armored male Fan Tianyun, whom Dongbu Shuiying had met before. The other was a silent male with a black cape. He was silent, yet he gave off a faint feeling of an erupting volcano, giving off an endless pressure. So. Dongbu Shuiying and the other four landed. Fan Tianyun and the black-cloaked man looked at the five of them. Goo. In the huge lake ahead, there seemed to be a huge eye looking at the outside world through the lake water. Dongbu Shuiying and the others shuddered in fear. Danger. The feeling of threat coming from the huge eye below the lake was comparable to that of the sacred master that Dongbu Shuiying had met before. Even if it wasn't as strong, it wouldn't be much weaker. Is it in existence on the same level as my master? Dongbu Shuiying thought. Great Paragon. Monarch Andromeda bowed respectfully. This time, I will have to trouble Great Paragon to see how strong these brats are. Wah. A black-robed man suddenly appeared on the surface of the lake. He spoke indifferently. My Fan clan has lost 5 times. It is fine if the Summer clan won 3 times, but even the Tsang clan won twice. Even the Tsang clan can't compare to us. This generation of brats is truly embarrassing. The core disciples of the Fan clan revealed a look of shame. My Fan clan has never lost 6 times in history. It will be too embarrassing if we lose again. Furthermore, our Fan clan has failed to enter the Origin Realm God Palace, left behind by Yuan for 5 times. Even Master is infuriated. The black-robed male coldly looked at his younger disciples. This time we must win. Alright, this is my incarnation. If you guys defeat my incarnation, my new incarnation will become stronger until you can no longer defeat me. The more you defeat me, the stronger you are. Fan Tianyun, Fan Laihua, since the two of you aren't convinced, then go first. The black-robed male indifferently said. The snow-white armored male Fan Tianyun and the other black-cloaked male exchanged glances. I'll go first, Fan Tianyun said. And as Dongbu Shuiying watched from the side, a huge wave was set off in his heart. Yuan? Origin Realm God Palace? He could recognize it. This time, it was a competition between the 3 great clans of the Summer Wind Ancient Nation, and only experts could enter the Origin Realm God Palace, left behind by Yuan. And with the identity of Dongbu Shuiying, he had never heard of the Origin Realm God Palace before. It is actually related to Yuan. Dongbu Shuiying thought. He reincarnated into this world by relying on the Realm Heart Order, left behind by Yuan. There were many God Yuan palaces in the Realm Heart Great Land that could determine the strength of cultivators. This also proved that the status of Yuan in the Realm Heart Great Land was transcendent. This was a mysterious and horrifying existence. Hong. Fan Tianyun and that black-robed male began fighting. The black-robed male was merely the incarnation of this mysterious great paragon residing at the bottom of the lake. Dongbu Shuiying could guess that the other party should be Ancestor Fan from how the other party said, even his master is infuriated. In the past, when Ancestor Fan was still relatively weak, he would travel around the Realm Heart Great Land to comprehend and cultivate. At that time he would bring along a mount, the Cloud-Devouring Beast. And now, Ancestor Fan no longer brought along a mount when he went out. The Cloud-Devouring Beast in the past was also a great paragon of the Fan clan. Wah! The black-robed male's body dissipated after being cleaved apart by a great axe. Closely following that, a new incarnation condensed on the surface of the lake. Once, twice, thrice. The strength displayed by Fan Tianyun startled Dongbu Shuiying slightly. The other party used a pair of axes that were more powerful and tyrannical than the Scarlet Cloud combat technique. Furthermore, Fan Tianyun's fleshy body was terrifying too. When he battled, there would be a black aura revolving around his body. As his incarnation became stronger, the strength displayed by Fan Tianyun made Dongbu Shuiying sigh. Such power was absolutely at the peak of the 10th level standard. I wonder what absolute art he cultivates that is stronger than my Scarlet Cloud combat technique in close combat. Dongbo Shuiying muttered inwardly. He had no choice. The Fan clan had quite a few powerful secret importation techniques that used axes. Even the Summer clan and Song clan had secret importation techniques that used axes. Even though the three great clans fought against each other, it was possible to learn some secret importation techniques from other clans if one were to pay a sufficient price. Fan Tianyun was blasted flying. He stopped and spoke respectfully, "Great Paragon, I have already given it my all." Amen 6 times. The black-robed man nodded. He looked at the black-cloaked man. "You do it." "Yes." Fan Lihua strode forward. His black cloak fluttered in the wind. His expression remained calm. Wah! A serene blade light filled with boundless death aura instantly slashed onto the black-robed man's body. A single slash dissipated the blade. The black-robed man condensed a new incarnation. 1 slash, scatter. 1 slash, scatter. Fan Lihua's blade was filled with death and cruelty. Just a glance at it caused Dongbo Shuiying's eyes to shrink. Even though the Fan clan had powerful secret importation techniques, the more powerful the secret importation, the harder it was to cultivate. The only advantage of these great powers was that they could provide the most suitable secret importation techniques according to the cultivator's innate talent, allowing them to dig out their potential. If Fan Tianyun had extremely high combat techniques, like the Scarlet Cloud combat technique, which specialized in close combat, then Fan Tianyun's laws of axes, which specialized in close combat. As for Fan Lihua, he used a single move to dominate the world. Just a single slash. After 5 consecutive defeats, on the 6th attempt, Fan Lihua only succeeded after 2 consecutive slashes. On the 7th attempt, Fan Lihua only succeeded after 13 consecutive slashes despite being heavily injured. Pooh! Fan Lihua fell to the ground with heavy injuries. He crawled back up. His injuries were rapidly recovering as he said with a low voice, "Great Paragon, I have already given it my all." Fan Tianyun's expression turned slightly ugly when he saw that Fan Lihua had actually defeated him once more. "Next is the two of you." The black-robed man looked at the 2 outsiders who were chosen this time. "There's no need to be anxious. Let me go first." Sauron Kingdom smiled at Dongbo Shuiying. All the core disciples present looked at Dongbo Shuiying with a slightly special gaze. Upper honored guest. What did this primal chaos expert rely on to become an upper honored guest? King Sauron did not use any weapons. Instead he fought bare-handed. Icy Plains Tribe. This was the territory of the Icy Snow Ancient Nation. The 3 old ancestors of the Icy Snow Ancient Nation had all reached the unparalleled realm in body cultivation. Therefore, in terms of body tempering, the Icy Snow Ancient Kingdom was the most terrifying and heaven-defying. As for the Icy Plains Tribe, being within its sphere of influence, its body-refining techniques were also very impressive. King Sauron also had some special encounters, causing his body-refining techniques to be exceptionally terrifying. Of course, even though the Icy Plains Tribe was within the territory of the Icy Snow Ancient Country, the Fan clan was still able to infiltrate it. King Sauron had clearly chosen to join the Fan clan as an honored guest because the cultivation techniques of the Icy Snow Ancient Country were too monotonous. There were countless heaven-defying body refinement techniques, but the other Dao paths were too weak. As for this Summer Wind Ancient Nation, it was more comprehensive and had what he wanted. Boom boom boom. He consecutively destroyed 6 of the black-clothed incarnations in close combat, and it was clear that the 7th time was much more difficult. However, at that moment he let out a laugh. His laughter was vigorous and vast, and the sound waves produced by his voice attacked the black-clothed incarnation in a strange manner, affecting the strength of the black-clothed incarnation and immediately defeating the 7th incarnation. In the end he defeated the 8th incarnation. King Sauron finally stopped. Fan Tianyun and Fan Lihua were speechless. At times. No wonder the Fan clan would invite outsiders. It is your turn. The gaze of the black-clothed male landed on the distant Dongbo Shuiying. At that moment, King Sauron, Fan Lihua, Fan Tianyun, and the other 3 core disciples turned to Dongbo Shuiying. Even Monarch Andromeda turned to Dongbo Shuiying. Becoming an upper honored guest at the Primal Chaos Realm? How strong was this Yingshan Snow Eagle exactly? Dongbo Shuiying stepped forward. He walked to the lakeside and saw the black-clothed male standing on the lake. He immediately bowed. "Great Paragon, pardon me for offending you." Chapter 1086. Becoming an upper-honored guest at the primal chaos realm? The black-robed male looked at Dongbo Shuiying with interest. "Let me see your strength." Oh. Dongbo Shuiying flipped his hand, causing the 5 phase beads bracelet to appear on his wrist. The surface of the 5 beads emitted a faint light, and Dongbo Shuiying's palm abruptly expanded. 5 dimmed light revolved on the surface of his 5 fingers, forming a huge palm. It covered the world as it slapped towards the black-robed male on the surface of the lake. The huge palm smacked that black-robed male apart with a single slap. This is the 5 phases sealing technique? The 5 core disciples from the Fan clan and King Sauron were watching carefully because this was the first time they witnessed the 5 phases sealing technique. Even though this secret importation technique was famous, few experts could execute it. Furthermore, there was only Dongbo Shuiying at the primal chaos realm who could execute it. A single move and a spatial seal? It seems there is no way to dodge it? Right, there's no way to dodge it. The entire space has been sealed and one has to resist against it. As for its power, I can't see it yet. Across the entire realm Heart Great Land, these primal chaos experts present were all heaven-defying existences. Their eyesight was also sharp. They first discovered a heaven-defying aspect of the 5 phases sealing technique. It could not be dodged. Much less them, even an absolute majority of cosmos gods could not dodge it. This was a technique they had to receive. Only rare existences like Southern Cloud King could evade this technique. Even if they had that strength, they would disdain from doing so. Slightly interesting. The black-robed male condensed once again on the surface of the lake. He praised, "You can completely seal and isolate space. The only weakness is that your sealing technique is slightly weaker. To Great Paragon, this technique of mine is naturally nothing much," Dongbo Shuiying said. He then sent another palm out. An enormous palm spanning a few hundred meters slapped the incarnation of the black-robed male to death. Again and again. Every time Dongbo Shuiying used a single palm. When the 6th incarnation was killed by Dongbo Shuiying, the expressions of King Sauron, Fan Laihua, Fan Tianyun, and the others changed slightly. "I only managed to kill the 6th incarnation through close combat and many moves," King Sauron thought, yet he destroyed it with a single palm. This 5 phases sealing art is indeed as tyrannical, as described in the legends. How domineering. Fan Tianyun felt his heart trembling. He had risked his life just to defeat the 6th incarnation, yet this snow eagle was exterminated with a single palm. The gap was clear. Even the black-cloaked male Fan Laihua carefully inspected Ying Shan's snow eagle. "I've defeated the 6th incarnation and slashed out twice." He even used a total of 13 slashes to defeat the 7th incarnation. "In terms of dominance, he's above me." Wah. The black-robed man condensed an incarnation for the 7th time. Everyone was watching. Dongbo Shuiying was still standing there as he sent another palm strike down. Hong Long Long, even though the black-robed man tried to resist, he was still turned into dust. Still killed in one move? This? Too tyrannical. Fan Laihua and Fan Tianyun, who were ostracized, as well as the other 3 core disciples who were more outstanding, felt their eyes dilate. Defeating 7 incarnations was nothing to the 3 of them who were chosen. But just one move? That was slightly horrifying. The black-robed man condensed his 8th incarnation. Oh. Dongbo Shuiying sent another palm strike down. The black-robed man defended against it once again. His hands displayed a technique, causing black clouds to revolve. In the past, the black-robed man was extinguished. This time, the body of the black-robed man trembled slightly, yet he resisted against it. Hong. 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 Dongbo Shuiying's palm struck out 5 times at an extremely fast speed, forcibly dissipating the black-robed man. Only then did he slightly bow before retreating to the side of King Sauron. "The 2 of you saw it right?" Monarch Andromeda looked at Fan Tianyun and Fan Laihua. "The 2 of them have defeated 8 incarnations. The 2 of you have nothing to say, right?" Fan Tianyun and Fan Laihua became silent. "That's right. They lost." This was personally investigated by Great Paragon Heaven Devourer. It was impossible for Great Paragon Heaven Devourer to be biased towards outsiders. Go back and cultivate properly. Don't think that the disciples of the Fan clan are invincible. Even those small nations that don't have good teachers or cultivation techniques can still have primal chaos experts that are stronger than you. Monarch Andromeda shouted. Yes. Fan Lai Hua and Fan Tianyun felt even worse. Go. Monarch Andromeda waved his hand. Wang, the space around Fan Lai Hua and Fan Tianyun was teleported away. The two of them disappeared. Upper honored guest Feishu, do you dare to compete with me? Among the 3 chosen core disciples, there was a skinny young man wearing green armor. His eyes were like lightning as he shouted out. At this moment he took the initiative to erupt his power. One could see terrifying lightning snakes revolving around his body. In terms of power he seemed to be comparable to Monarch Andromeda. Even when Dongbua Shuiying executed the 5 phases sealing technique previously, he did not have such a terrifying aura. There's no need. Dongbua Shuiying chuckled. The candidates have already been decided. There's no need to fight anymore. You don't even have this bit of courage? The skinny young man roared. Enough. Monarch Andromeda frowned. This is the territory of a great paragon. Don't be impudent. Yes. The skinny young man obediently replied. Great paragon. Monarch Andromeda immediately bowed. The few of us will be leaving first. As for Dongbua Shuiying and the other 4 primal chaos existences, they bowed respectfully too. You primal chaos existences of this generation better not embarrass my fan clan. The black-robed incarnation dissipated after saying that. One could vaguely see an enormous eye at the bottom of the lake. Let's go. Monarch Andromeda brought along Dongbua Shuiying and the other 4. They turned into the sky and left. Are we just going to let the 2 of them suppress our fan clan disciples so arrogantly? The skinny young man in green armor transmitted to his 2 companions. There was a strand of viciousness on his face. Fan Tianyun and the other 2 are trash. I still think the 2 of them are sufficient to embarrass the 2 outsiders. If the 3 of us don't act, they might think that our fan clan's primal chaos existences are weaker than the 2 of them. The young girl transmitted from the side. Yi Qian, that King Sauron is fine since it isn't hard to defeat him. Furthermore, according to what I know, that King Sauron has a violent temper. As long as we provoke him once or twice, he will easily fight. It's just that Yingshan Snow Eagle is slightly troublesome. Previously, when he fought with the incarnation of a great paragon, he stood at his original position from start to end. He did not move a single step. The moment his 5 phases sealing technique was unleashed, the other party could not dodge at all. He could only block it head-on. If he could break it apart, he would win. If he could not, he would lose. I don't have the confidence. Even though your big brother cultivates that unphased mystical technique, he only has a 50% chance of defeating Yingshan Snow Eagle. Only you are famous for your strength. You specialize in breaking techniques with your strength. You are most suitable to deal against that Yingshan Snow Eagle. The only problem is that he has been avoiding battle. I know that his 5 phases sealing technique requires 6 consecutive strikes before he could shatter the 8th incarnation of a great paragon. My rod technique might not be able to reach the state of unavoidable, but in the past I was able to shatter the 8th incarnation of a great paragon with a single strike. The 9th incarnation is too good at dodging and my rod could not touch it. The green-armored thin and weak teenager transmitted, as long as we fight head-on, I'll absolutely be able to break apart his 5 phases sealing technique. Big brother, what do you think about defeating him? That was a simple-looking gray-robed male. In the Fan clan, most experts had an incredibly strong killing intent and even viciousness. But this simple-looking gray-robed male had a gentle aura. All primal chaos experts in the Fan clan respected him greatly. He was even favored by Ancestor Fan and was bestowed with that unphased mystical technique. One had to know that in the exchange list for honored guests, this was something that required the identity of an honored guest elder and a total of 300,000 contribution points. He was none other than the disciple that the Fan clan nurtured the most in this generation, Fan Sanyuan. Fan Sanyuan, Fan Emoju, and Fan Yiqian. The 3 of them were unquestionably the strongest primal chaos experts in the Fan clan. Fan Yiqian was also the green-armored thin and weak male. He was proud and arrogant, yet he admired Fan Sanyuan the most. Yiqian. The simple-looking gray-robed male transmitted, you should first defeat King Sauron before entering the courtyard of Snow Eagle to challenge him. If he isn't willing, you can just stay in his courtyard and not leave. Good idea. The green-armored thin and weak male's eyes brightened at that moment. The simple-looking gray-robed male revealed a grin. Given his personality, it was impossible for him to do such rude and unreasonable things. But being rude and overbearing was something Fan Yiqian loved the most. Fan Yiqian looked at the white-robed young man by the side. He thought, Still an upper honored guest? In a while I'll beat you down. Chapter 1087. The simple-looking gray-robed male Fan Sanyuan also glanced at the white-robed young man by the side. My Summer Wind ancient nation has a vast territory with many experts. Even if the entire Black Devil Four nations were added up, it would merely be a small corner of the Summer Wind ancient nation. My Fan clan is one of the 3 great clans in the Summer Wind ancient nation. There are many cosmos gods guiding us and we have all sorts of treasures aiding us. Furthermore, we have the most suitable secret importation technique that could lead us to the peak. If we can't even defeat a little brat from the Black Devil Four nations, then it would truly be a disgrace to this generation of our Fan clan's younger generation. Although Fan Sanyuan appeared gentle, he was very proud and aloof in his heart. His temperament was more similar to that of the Summer clan's disciples. He did not like to slaughter, but he still had an instinctive sense of contempt towards foreign countries. It would be a disgrace if they couldn't match up to the experts from other countries. Ichin is good at using brute force to break through techniques. That is the best way to counter him. Let's use this to see how strong he is, Fan Sanyuan thought. Very soon, Monarch Andromeda brought the 5 of them back to their residence and descended on the mountain peak. In a few months, it will be the competition between the 3 clans. Monarch Andromeda swept his gaze over them. You must do your best. If you 2 guest elders fail, the promised rewards will be greatly reduced. Dongbo Shuiying and King Sauron were filled with battle intent. Naturally, he had to do his best to succeed. Back then, they had agreed that they would only be rewarded with 10,000 contribution points after the mission was completed. The Fan clan's rule had always been, for the mercenaries and honored guests to accept the mission, they would naturally be rewarded in full if they succeeded. But if they failed, the Fan clan would not be as generous as before. If a mission failed, there would usually be no credit. Some missions were special. Even if there was no merit, there would still be hard work. For example, this time both Dongbo Shuiying and King Sauron had their own missions. If they failed, they would only receive 10% of the merit. After saying that, Monarch Andromeda turned into a streak of light and left. Dongbo Shuiying turned around and returned to his house. King Sauron also returned to his residence. And the 3 core disciples of the Fan clan looked at each other. King Sauron. The green-armored skinny man Fan Yiqian shouted. He then directly entered King Sauron's residence. King Sauron looked at the green-armored skinny man with puzzlement. I wonder what's the matter? He from the Icy Plains tribe? You seem pretty powerful. You dare to fight with me? Fan Yiqian sneered, his face naturally filled with contempt. This was not a deliberate provocation, but rather his personality was like this. Upon seeing this, King Sauron's face sank and his eyes were filled with an ominous glint. He had swept across many tribes in the Icy Plains, and had even fought with many cosmos gods. It had been a very long time since anyone dared to look down on him in the chaotic Icy Plains tribe. This was the Fan clan. Hence, King Sauron felt that he was keeping a low profile since he came from one of the apex clans in the entire realm Heart Great Land. But since he had stepped on his head, how could he avoid it? All right. King Sauron grinned and said, Then I shall accompany you. Ah, this feels great. Fan Yiqian bellowed. A simple and unadorned bronze long rod appeared in his hand and he swung it. There were surging thunderbolts on the long rod. In almost an instant, the long rod had already smashed in front of King Sauron. Rumble, this was an extremely brutal and barbaric battle. One of them was the most tyrannical primal chaos expert in the Fan clan, and he was known for his strength. His degree of barbarism was far beyond that of Fan Tianchong. The other was someone who had swept across many tribes in the Icy Plains. He relied on true slaughter to forge his name, and even the higher-ups of the Fan clan took the initiative to invite him over. Amen? Within his courtyard, Dongbo Shuiying's ears twitched. He was able to sense a terrifying disturbance occurring within the residence of King Sauron. But there were arrays operating within that residence, blocking all the shockwaves from the disturbance. Hence it did not leak out. There are Fan Sanyuan and Fan Emoju outside. Then the one fighting with King Sauron should be Fan Yiqian? Dongbo Shuiying thought, Fan Yiqian should be cultivating some kind of mysterious lightning lineage absolute art scripture. Dongbo Shuiying knew the origins of the absolute arts that Fan Sanyuan and Fan Emoju specialized in. For instance, Fan Sanyuan's unfazed mystical technique was created by Ancestor Fan. Fan Emoju's absolute art 3000 swords was created by Emperor Summer. Fan Yiqian's cultivation scripture was not recorded in the outside world. One only knew that it was a heaven-defying lightning lineage scripture that was famous for being tyrannical. There were indeed some mysterious scriptures in the realm Heart Great Land. For instance, scriptures left behind by terrifying existences that had fallen. If the scripture did not record the creator, nobody would know who the creator was. For instance, some huge organizations like the Fan clan would usually keep their most important scriptures mysterious. It was hard to find much information about them in the outside world. The name was not publicized. The creator was not publicized. As for how terrifying it was not publicized either. Only after experiencing it in combat could one gradually guess part of its power. Jia. The courtyard door of King Sauron's residence opened. Ha ha ha. The thin and weak Fan Yiqian walked out. His face was filled with smiles. He was laughing delightfully. And within the residence, the undamaged King Sauron had a gloomy expression. He is actually strong to such an extent. It's a pity that this courtyard is too small, and the area I can evade is too small. If the area was big enough, he wouldn't be able to defeat me. King Sauron had dominated the Icy Plains tribe, and he specialized in escaping. This time the two of them fought within the courtyard. When they fought, the arrays were activated to prevent the courtyard from being destroyed, and also to reduce the area of combat to this small courtyard. Hong. King Sauron glanced at the door of the courtyard before it closed. And outside, Fan Sanyuan and Fan Emoju both walked over. They asked, "How was it?" "I won." Fan Yiqian was relatively delighted. But following that he helplessly said, "But he is very formidable. His sound wave technique made me dizzy, and it is hard to deal with him in close combat. Under a moment of anger, I executed a forbidden technique, causing my strength to erupt and sweep across the entire courtyard. He had nowhere to escape to and was forced to admit defeat by me. If we weren't in the courtyard, I'm afraid I wouldn't have won." "He forced you to execute a forbidden technique?" Fan Sanyuan and Fan Emoju exchanged glances. They were startled. The outside world did not know. But the two of them knew that Fan Yiqian cultivated a horrifying absolute art scripture left behind by that mysterious Yuan. Fan Yiqian was fortunate enough to resonate with this scripture, allowing him to cultivate it. Even great paragons were slightly envious of him. The scripture left behind by Yuan depended on fate and luck. If great paragons could not resonate with the scripture, they could not cultivate it. This scripture which Fan Yiqian cultivated was considered normal. It was just that its strength was tyrannical. But the moment he executed a forbidden technique, it would be heaven-defying. Fan Yiqian mentioned before that this absolute art scripture had a total of 3 forbidden techniques. Currently he could only execute one. If he executed 2 forbidden techniques, his soul would directly collapse and his body would die. "I'll go finding Shan Snow Eagle." At this moment Fan Yiqian was filled with fighting spirit. He walked to the entrance of Dongbu Shui Ying's courtyard. Dong dong dong, he knocked heavily on the door. Fan Sanyuan and Fan Emoju were watching too. Just when the courtyard over at King Sauron's side became quiet, Dongbu Shuiying soon discovered someone knocking heavily on his courtyard door. Dongbu Shuiying turned towards the door. He glanced at his servant, the magic dragon. The magic dragon immediately opened the door. Hua. The green-armored thin male Fan Yiqian directly took a step in. He swaggered in and sneered at Dongbu Shuiying. "King Sauron has been defeated by me. Now it's your turn." Dongbu Shuiying was slightly startled. "King Sauron has been defeated by you? Didn't you hear what I said? It's your turn now." Fan Yiqian sneered. "Why the need for this?" Dongbu Shuiying said. His teacher had already transmitted a message to remind him of the 3 great clans in the Summer Wind Ancient Nation. The Fan clan was tyrannical and cruel internally. In addition to that, they naturally looked down on the surrounding nations. If he were to slap the face of the Fan clan too much, it would most likely incur more troubles. In the Fan clan, he was ultimately an honored guest. "You don't even have the slightest bit of courage?" Fan Yiqian sneered. He held onto the bronze rod with a single hand before slamming it heavily on the ground. He roared, "Since I'm not going to fight, I'll be waiting here. I want to see how long a coward like you can endure for." "How dare you!" The magic dragon could no longer tolerate it. "Shut up!" Fan Yiqian roared. A terrifying thunder erupted on the surface of his body. Those thunder directly enveloped the magic dragon, causing the magic dragon to feel the threat of death. Fan Yiqian grinned, revealing his white teeth. If not for you being an upper-honored guest invited by my fan clan, I would have long devoured you with a single bite if you dared to be so impudent. Dongbo Shuiying frowned slightly. He stood up. Fan Yiqian revealed a joyous look as he looked at Dongbo Shuiying. Why, you finally dare to fight? Please. Dongbo Shuiying stood there. You first. Fan Yiqian held onto the bronze rod. He was filled with confidence. He was prepared. The moment the 5 phases sealing technique came, he would immediately break it apart with a single rod. All right. Dongbo Shuiying nodded. A golden bell appeared by his waist. The golden bell was swaying as it let out a ringing sound. Ding 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 dang, the sweet-sounding ringing resounded in Fan Yiqian's mind. It possessed a fatal effect of seduction. Fan Yiqian stood there in a daze. His face even revealed a silly smile. No other choice. Of the 2 major moves of the Devil Heart Bell, Dongbo Shuiying had unleashed the power of the bewildering sound to the 9th level. This was merely a supplementary seduction technique, but the illusory world contained within was at the 10th level. The combination of the 2 major moves. Fan Yiqian was originally known for his strength, but his soul resistance was weak. He could be said to be the weakest among the 3 core disciples chosen by the Fan clan. Hence he was struck in an instant. Truly. Dongbo Shuiying shook his head and waved his hand. Ping. An unseen ripple slammed onto Fan Yiqian's body. Fan Yiqian was sent flying before crashing onto the ground. His face smashed onto the ground. His mouth was filled with mud, and the bronze rod in his hand smashed onto his head. Only then did Fan Yiqian wake up in a daze. This was after Dongbo Shuiying retracted the illusory realm technique. Otherwise he would still be trapped within. What happened to me? Fan Yiqian was still in a daze. He saw himself lying on the ground with the bronze rod beside him. His mouth was filled with mud. I lost? Pu. Fan Yiqian spat out the mud in his mouth. He was shocked in his heart. He turned his head with slight fear and looked at the white-robed young man who was still standing at the same spot. He remembered that he heard the melodious ringing of the bell before he fell to the ground. Chapter 1088. Jia. The courtyard door opened. Fan Sanyuan and Fan Emoju, who were outside, hurriedly looked into the courtyard. They saw the thin and weak Fan Yiqian, who was wearing green armor, walk out shakily. There was a hint of confusion on his face. Following that, the courtyard door closed. Why did you come out? Fan Sanyuan felt puzzled. If he chose to avoid the battle, didn't I ask you to stay in his courtyard? Fan Emoju added from the side. If he chose to chase you away, you can take the chance to fight with him. We fought. Fan Yiqian looked ahead in a daze. He muttered. We fought. Fan Sanyuan and Fan Emoju felt their hearts trembling. They could not help but glance at each other. The 2 of them were just outside the courtyard. Even though there were arrays operating in this courtyard that isolated sound and ordinary disturbances, what level of frightening ripples would there be when a 10th level expert battled? They could feel it in the outside world, much less Fan Yiqian, who specialized in breaking techniques with brute force. But they did not feel any disturbances at all previously. And Fan Yiqian came out too quickly. He had only just gone in, and he had only spoken a few words and he was already out? And they even fought. What happened? Fan Sanyuan asked. We lost. Fan Yiqian muttered, we lost wholeheartedly. Let's go. We aren't his opponent at all. Saying that, Fan Yiqian turned around and left. He headed back to his courtyard. What exactly happened? Fan Sanyuan and Fan Emoju felt puzzled. Yiqian's personality is the most ruthless and unreasonable. He is also extremely proud in his heart. Fan Emoju's eyes flashed with a strange light. He looked at the courtyard of Dongbo Shuiying by the side, but if he lost to someone at the same level and if he lost badly, it would most likely agitate him. Among the primal chaos experts in our Fan clan, only Big Brother could barely suppress him. But this time there were no disturbances at all and he came out so quickly. This shows that Ying Shan Snow Eagle should have easily defeated Yiqian in 1 or 2 moves. He lost too badly. Fan Sanyuan softly nodded. Fan Yiqian's strength was extremely frightening, especially after he executed the forbidden technique. Ying Shan Snow Eagle defeated Yiqian stealthily? It's not the 5 phases sealing art. Fan Emoju said, it should be some other secret art that could easily defeat Yiqian. It should not be any weaker than the 5 phases sealing technique. Fan Sanyuan softly nodded. There were some that were not inferior to the 5 phases sealing technique and were also silent. For example, curses, prophecy, mirage, and illusory realms, as well as extremely complicated formations, and even terrifying time-related secret techniques that could jump out of the timeline. These were all silent. If one did not care about the commotion, then there were even more secret techniques that could defeat Fan Yiqian. Ancestor Fan, Emperor Summer, and the others created secret arts that could theoretically be achieved. Tian Yuan Shan, Xin, Yuan Tian Yuan. Of Yuan of. Fan Yiqian had yet to reach the pinnacle of his own cultivation method, and he could only use one forbidden art. It seems Great Paragon and the others have agreed to let this Ying Shan Snow Eagle become an upper honored guest of my Fan clan. It seems logical. Fan Sanyuan said. He no longer had the thought of fighting. Once the competition between the 3 clans begins, we'll know his background, said Fan Emoju with a smile. I mean, it is good that he is strong. It is also a good thing for our Fan clan. Fan Sanyuan nodded lightly. Although he was an extremely proud person, when he was surpassed he would only respect Dongbo Shuang even more. He would also work hard to cultivate and surpass Dongbo Shuang. The world of cultivators was like this. The Summer Wind ancient nation looked down on the surrounding nations. But there were a few existences that could win their respect. For instance, Southern Cloud King. Now it's quiet. Dongbo Shuang shook his head lightly. He was not willing to make too many enemies within the Fan clan. Because in his cultivation plans, the Fan clan was extremely important. After becoming a cosmos god, he would naturally send an avatar back to his hometown Primal Chaos Void so that he could understand the happenings there. But no matter if it was the Destruction Devils that were getting stronger and stronger, or the Sacred Master, both forced Dongbo Shuang to become stronger. One had to know that the secret treasures over at his hometown Primal Chaos Void were much cruder. They could not reach the stage of fighting against those of a higher realm. The Primal Chaos realm could only reach the 9th level. It was hard for cosmos gods to fight against those of a higher realm in their hometown. It is hard to deal against the Sacred Master in my hometown. I have to rely on the precious scriptures in the Fan clan. Only then can I improve faster. This time the opportunity to earn contribution points is hard to come by. I must complete this mission perfectly. Dongbo Shuang sat in the courtyard for a moment. No one came knocking on his door. He knew that the 3 core disciples would not disturb him anymore. He immediately stood. Magic Dragon, if there isn't anything important, don't disturb me. Dongbo Shuang ordered. Yes, master. The servant Magic Dragon looked at Dongbo Shuang with a gaze filled with worship. That core disciple of the Fan clan who defeated King Sauron was actually defeated by his master in a single move. His master was too formidable. Dongbo Shuang entered the cultivation room of this courtyard and began cultivating quietly. The Fan clan provided the 5 experts who were participating in the competition between the 3 clans. Other places were fine, but this cultivation room was of the highest grade. Sitting cross-legged here, Dongbo Shuang could feel the energy of the arrays revolving around him, nourishing his fleshy body and soul. The effect was so good that it was much better than the Void God Pagoda which he paid a huge price to construct in Feishua City. No choice. The Fan clan was naturally extraordinary. It's a pity that he could not stay here for long. Wang. Dongbo Shuang closed his eyes. He began recalling his harvest from the previous battles. Naturally, it wasn't his fight with Fan Yiqian. That fight was too simple. Instead, it was when he defeated the incarnation of Great Paragon Devouring Cloud. Especially during the 8th time, he only defeated him after 6 consecutive strikes. Facing against the techniques of Great Paragon Devouring Cloud, Dongbo Shuang's 5 phases sealing technique changed accordingly. The 5 phases rotated as he searched for the weakness of the other party. Those 6 consecutive palms had variations in every palm. 5 phases rotation. Dongbo Shuang recalled and absorbed some insights. Suddenly he thought of the voidification technique. Rotation? Dongbo Shuang felt his heart move. At that moment, a flash of inspiration appeared. He had been researching on the voidification technique for far too long. In his previous life he had reached the pinnacle of the primal chaos realm in the Walker's hidden secret, reaching the 50th level. Emperor Jiyun had also cultivated the voidification technique to a stage where he could no longer improve further. He had always been comprehending the scaled armor of General Mo Gu. After reincarnating into the realm Heart Great Land, he first reached the 10th level grand perfection in the Southern Cloud sacred body. He cultivated the 5 phases sealing technique, allowing his understanding of the 5 Tao paths of the void to reach the pinnacle of primal chaos realm. Furthermore, he researched on the innate profound mysteries of voidification from many insects of the void lineage. Continuous accumulations had long allowed Dongbo Shuiying to fuse the inscriptions on General Mo Gu's scaled armor into one furnace. It's just that he lacked an opportunity when fusing them together. At this moment, within this cultivation room, as he recalled the 5 phases rotation, he comprehended where the opportunity was. Why the need to fuse them together forcefully? It should be rotated, and the strong and weak can change at any time. Dongbo Shuiying understood in his heart. Wang. The surrounding void of Dongbo Shuiying, who was seated cross-legged, abruptly distorted. Many colorful lights were distorting. These distorted colorful lights fused into a black hole. At the center of the black hole was Dongbo Shuiying. Even if heaven and earth perish, I will not perish. Unless I have the power to break the cage of the origin world will not be harmed, and neither will I be harmed. Dongbo Shuiying smiled. Back then, Saint Master had always wanted to deal with Emperor Jiyun. Even during the battle where the primitive ancient sacred world was shattered, he had risked his life and only managed to severely injure Emperor Jiyun, allowing Emperor Jiyun to escape. In the end, Saint Master did not manage to obtain the 3 hells of fire cauldron. This was the terrifying aspect of the pinnacle of voidification. Only with the power to break the origin world could one injure an expert at the pinnacle of voidification. It was just injuring, but to truly kill them was too difficult. For example, Dongbo Shuiying's Arch of Heaven Breaker could only shatter a few black fog spherical particles. If such a move was used against Dongbo Shuiying, it would only be able to kill a single cell. Hence, pinnacle of voidification was something that many experts pursued. Even Dongbo Shuiying's master, Gu Qi, had not reached the pinnacle of voidification. Only the creator of the Void Walker lineage, Void Primogenitor, could do it. This step was very difficult. Those who became a cosmos god using the Tao of voidification could not obtain the secret technique, and some could not even create it. Yet they created it at the primal chaos realm. That was simply unfathomable. In the primal chaos void, the destruction devils could stealthily penetrate through the void barrier erected by the cultivators just because of their shadowless talent, causing many disasters. The moment one reached the pinnacle of voidification, that would be a true qualitative change. Only with 9 Tao reincarnations could one be undying. This voidification technique of mine shall be called the 9 rotation undying technique. Dongbo Shuiying chuckled. Who would have thought that after cultivating bitterly for so many years, reincarnating until now, and accumulating so many accumulations, it was still at the Fan Clan Magic Mountain that I comprehended it. At the same time when he comprehended the 9 rotation undying technique, Dongbo Shuiying immediately felt that he could break through to the Cosmos God realm as long as he continued researching the Tao of Void. His accumulations were too deep. The 5 phases sealing technique, and the even more difficult 9 rotation undying technique. Furthermore, the 9 rotation undying technique was self-created. With such a foundation he could easily break through to the Cosmos God realm using the Tao of Void. There's no rush. I still have to participate in the competition between the 3 clans of the Fan Clan. If I were to break through to the Cosmos God realm now, I would no longer be qualified to participate. Dongbo Shuiying thought. Let's wait. It will begin soon anyway. After the competition between the 3 clans ends, I'll break through to the Cosmos God realm. By then I should send my avatars back to my hometown, Jingqiu Yuer Qingyao. At this moment, Dongbo Shuiying was filled with longing for his wife and children. Were they fine after leaving their hometown for so long? Wait a little longer. Wait a little longer. Dongbo Shuiying advised himself. He had yet to think of the following competition between the 3 clans. He was slightly stuck and today was the last day. Star. Chapter 1089. Just a month or so after creating the 9 rotation undying technique. Fellow cultivators, it is time to set off. A voice reverberated across the 5 residences. Within the 5 residences, Fan Sanyuan, Fan Emoju, Fan Yiqian, King Sauron, and Dongbo Shuiying soon came out. It is finally time for the competition between the 3 clans. Dongbo Shuiying chuckled. To him, the competition between the 3 clans was primarily for the 10,000 contribution points. The moment the mission was completed, he would immediately enter closed-door cultivation before breaking through to the Cosmos God realm. He would then send his avatar back to his hometown, Primal Chaos Void. And at this moment, Fan San Yuan and the others, including King Sauron, turned to Dongbo Shuang. Because they knew, Fan Yiqian was defeated in a single move by Snow Eagle. Haha, even if you are stronger, it is better for all of you to display it later. Monarch Andromeda stood there laughing. Only by defeating the Tsang clan and Summer clan can we call that strength. Yes. Fan San Yuan softly nodded. This time we will definitely win. The thin Fan Yiqian had long regained his fighting spirit. He growled. His eyes were filled with lightning. Everyone come up. By the side of Monarch Andromeda was a luxurious carriage. It was relatively big and Monarch Andromeda had already entered the carriage. At the same time he called out to those outside. Dongbo Shuang and the others immediately flew up. Looking from the outside, the carriage was only a few meters long and wide. But within, it was several dozen meters long. They were seated cross-legged within the carriage. Set off. Monarch Andromeda also sat cross-legged and ordered. Yes. The attendant outside the carriage respectfully answered. Ho! The mutated beast arced through the sky. It pulled the luxurious carriage away from the Fan Clan Magic Mountain. Dongbo Shuang was also looking out from within the carriage. This carriage had already arrived above some of the flourishing streets of the Summer Wind capital. The competition between the three clans has always been conducted within the royal palace. Monarch Andromeda explained. By then, Ancestor Fan, Emperor Summer, and Emperor Tsang will be spectating. Furthermore, the great paragons from the three great clans and several experts from other clans in my Summer Wind Ancient Nation will be here too. This is already the highest level competition between the three great clans of my Summer Wind Ancient Nation. The three clans were ultimately part of the Summer Wind Ancient Nation. Sending the most outstanding primal chaos existences to fight was more or less sufficient. Higher? Letting Cosmos gods fight? One had to know that Cosmos gods specialized in all sorts of things. Some Cosmos gods had techniques that even unparalleled existences could not stop in time. It was easy for them to lose control. Furthermore, whether it was invincible existences or grand monarchs, it was very, very difficult for a new expert to emerge. If there were always the same experts, the competition would be meaningless. Instead, many juniors would appear at the primal chaos realm, and there would be variables in the battle. It seems they view it highly. Ancestor Fan and the other two unparalleled existences are here to spectate the battle. The various great paragons are here too. Dongbo Shuang was startled inwardly. The higher-ups of the Summer Wind Ancient Nation were all here. Summer Wind Ancient Nation Royal Palace. It was a huge and vast hall. The hall was shrouded in clouds and mist. One could not even see the dome with the naked eye. It was as if the space was infinite. There was a black-robed male seated on the throne. His aura was illusory. Looking downwards, it felt as if the firmament was looking down on the masses. Even the surrounding cosmos gods did not dare to be disrespectful because this was the emperor of the Summer Wind Ancient Nation. He was someone whom even unparalleled existences like Ancestor Fan and Emperor Tsang were willing to assist. For instance, the Myriad Realms Ancient Nation had 5 ancestors. But they did not accept each other, and they did not even have a nominal supreme leader. But the Summer Wind Ancient Nation was comparatively more united. The supreme leader of the Summer Wind Ancient Nation was the Emperor of the Summer Wind Ancient Nation, Emperor Summer. Haha, brother Fan, your Fan clan has lost 5 times already. If you lose again, it will be the 6th time. Ever since we obtained the Origin Realm God Palace, during the Second War of the Ancient Nations, your Fan clan hasn't lost 6 times in a row, right? Emperor Summer chuckled as he looked at the blurred figure to his right. The appearance of Ancestor Fan was ever-changing. Different people would see it differently. Emperor Summer, it might not be certain this time. Ancestor Fan indifferently said. Younger brother Fan, you should know that the Summer clan has 2 absolute geniuses in this generation. They are much stronger than the previous 5 times. TSK, my Tsang clan could still win twice out of the previous 5 times. This time, my Tsang clan isn't confident of winning. Emperor Tsang said from the side. Even though Emperor Tsang was seated there, his surroundings were vast and boundless. On the surface of his body, there seemed to be many worlds being born and destroyed at the same time. The surrounding was vast and boundless, causing every cosmos god to feel their hearts palpitating. It doesn't matter if we lose this time. After all, my Tsang clan has won twice out of the previous 5 times. My Summer clan has won thrice out of the previous 5 times. Emperor Summer deliberately added. Ancestor Fan lightly snorted. The three old fellows might be bickering, but in reality they were as close as brothers. After all, there were too few who could discuss Tao with them on the path of cultivation. But this time we have to win. Ancestor Fan looked down at the great paragons of the Fan clan like Skyrending Great Paragon, Blood Lotus Great Paragon, and others. It has been a long time since my Fan clan sent great paragons into the Origin Realm God Palace. The few of them should be feeling anxious. The Origin Realm God Palace was left behind by Yuan. It was also one of the most important treasures fought over during the Second War of the Ancient Nations. That battle caused the world to collapse, and even unparalleled existences fell. There were even more who were heavily injured. For instance, 2 from the Primogenitor Ancient Nation had once fought against the Summer Wind Ancient Nation. For instance, Extreme Night Primogenitor was heavily injured, and quite a lot of his origin blood was taken away. Eternal Night Primogenitor had also escaped with heavy injuries. In that battle, the 2 strongest ancient nations, Myriad Realms Ancient Nation and Summer Wind Ancient Nation, had a huge harvest. The Summer Wind Ancient Nation obtained the Origin Realm God Palace. In the early stages, Emperor Summer, Ancestor Fan, and Emperor Tsang would take turns to enter the Origin Realm God Palace. But they had to spend a long time before they could enter again. After the 3 of them entered, they discovered that it was hard for them to improve. Hence, they gradually passed the opportunity to the juniors. Even though they were juniors, in reality they were the great paragons from the 3 great clans. How would they arrange the opportunity to enter? After all, the Summer clan was the strongest with a total of 9 great paragons. If the 3 great clans took turns to enter, it would be unfair to the Summer clan. After all, Emperor Summer had contributed the most in obtaining the Origin Realm God Palace. After that, the 3 old ancestors decided on the competition between the 3 clans. Whichever side won in the end would get the chance to enter. Hence, over the long years, generation after generation, the Summer clan would usually hold the upper hand. The Tsang clan and Fan clan were equally matched. It's just that in the recent 5 competitions, the Fan clan did not win once. That was slightly embarrassing. Furthermore, the great paragons from the Fan clan had long wanted to enter again even though only one could enter. But if the opportunity did not belong to the Fan clan, they would never be able to enter. The young fellows from the Summer clan are here. 6 figures flew over from afar before descending. One of them was a cosmos god. "Greetings, your majesties." They bowed. "Take your seats," Emperor Summer said. That cosmos god from the Summer clan naturally took his seat. And the remaining 5 primal chaos existences from the Summer clan were arranged by the female attendants. They were all low profile. After all, only the 5 of them were qualified to sit here temporarily. Very soon. The young fellow from the Fan clan is here too. At that moment it attracted many gazes. The cosmos gods from the Summer Wind Ancient Nation present knew that the Fan clan did not win once in the previous 5 competitions. One could see Dongbua Shuaying and the other 4 flying over under the lead of Monarch Andromeda. After landing, they respectfully greeted, "Greetings, your majesties." And at the highest point, Ancestor Fan, who sat by the side of Emperor Summer, looked at that white-robed young man with interest. "Yingshan Snow Eagle? Let's see how capable this Yingshan Snow Eagle is." This Yingshan Snow Eagle had rejected becoming his disciple before. Even if he reincarnated into this world, Ancestor Fan was curious that he could reject becoming his disciple. That you're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.